And maybe that's what some of the deep travels is, just looking at Earth reality, just going into it in different ways.
Yeah, definitely. And then I've come to the ultimate realization is within my own sphere of experience, thought core projection is actually my tuning bubble, like tuning a field around myself where the channels are determined by my frequency where I'm going to sort of subdimensionally travel, right? So it is interesting. It's very interesting. I got a question. Anybody uh under when they're stimulated, did anybody look around and see like 3D faces everywhere? Like especially the trees. Like for even here right now, if I can
Yes.
offset tune myself to that, I see all forms of you can say not demonic faces. Sometimes I see these across the street. There's this dragon guarding the mailbox. It's always there because it's an empty lot. Nobody's built houses on it, and it's not for sale. It's just houses everywhere except this lot has 7 trees and it's like a small house lot with like a park, but it's not a park. It's just an empty lot. There's a mailbox there. People need to put their key in to go to it. So basically, one time when I was sort of sub shifted for a while, I see this dragon it's like a perfect dragon just hovering over the mailbox is shaped out of the tree. I'm sure it's still there if I focus on it, but yeah, so other people see these faces.
Yeah. Yeah. Entities live in the trees. Whole
Yeah.
fucking colonies live in the trees. That shit is weird.
And what is even more weird, they move with the wind and they get
Yeah.
animated, right?
Yeah, yeah, and that's the trippy thing because they like that's what they do on mushrooms. They get you know what it remind me of, bro? Like when you looking up the street and like it's on a hot day and you see that little like kind of waviness come off the street. It remind me of
Yeah,
that. It looked like that when the trees is moving. They look like that, but then they start bringing on personalities. Like
yeah,
one time I
like
seen some Asians. It was like some Asian Chinese type dude, and he was like holding his granddaughter talking to me, and she was like, "He can see us," and then he was like, "Yeah." She was like, "No, he can't. He can't see us." And she put him down, and he put her down, and she walked away, and me and him started talking. And like every time I look at that tree, it just kind of freaks me out. Not like in a scary way, but it's just like, what the fuck, bro?
yeah, it is like basically almost like becoming like animated CGI, and they also could carry messages. I'll tell you this, I still remember to this day. Okay, I was on the upper level of this house, and through the front window, I can see the front lawn. There we have like this small tree, but it's like a flower tree. It's called a snowball tree.
Yeah,
And when I was, well, this is when I used meth and really doors opened up and I don't think they even closed. That was about, what, 8 years ago. Within 8 years, I dabbled with it 3 times and it really didn't work for myself. But since that doorway was opened, I've never really went back to normal reality. But it's in a good way where my perception can see all the darkness, but you can see also the like what I defined as the faces in the animated. If I really want to see it, I can see it anytime. But anyways, this was apparently the time where I could really see into everything clearly and everything was speaking. So speaking to myself. So I looked out the window to the snowball tree, and it was like a. You ever see that Michelin snow tire commercial? Sort of like a character like that, except
yeah, yeah.
this this being this being was holding up a flower towards myself as a gesture of kindness, and I'm like, holy shit, this AI computer system just blowing my mind away. Here it is, like this character with a flower being represented to myself in total form. I could see it, and wow,
Yeah.
I still remember that flower and that gesture, and it's just like wow.
Which
So it
is,
is quite a
I think that's why we be diving in on psychedelic. Well, I dive in order so I can see these different entities, like because there's so many of them. It's
I,
like,
I, yeah, it doesn't end. There is in this infinitum army, I call it, of these foot soldiers that are always around.
yeah,
I got
always a
another
bunch of
question.
them. Yeah,
So under the stimuli or maybe periods after that, sometimes things happen differently for the climax or the winding up and the winding down. Has anybody closed their eyes and been able to actually see with their eyes closed and and basically see structures? Like for myself, I can describe what happened. Right, I had a 2 week tour of this Matrix and the Dark tour, and basically all these experiences happened. But I could still see some of them, but some of them I can't see.
Yeah.
But what happened at one point in time is at nighttime, the lights were off at the house, but I shut my eyes and I could see all the code. I could see all the code surrounding the structures, and I even
Yeah.
walked down the stairs with my eyes closed, and I'm like, "Cool, I'm leaving this dimension. This is how it's always going to be, right?" I was like a kid with candy for 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, it was all gone, and I'm like, I was just like, it was kind of depressing, and I was just like, and I thought I was gonna go into this place forever, right? It's like
Yeah.
I had this tour, and I was like a kid with candy, with shown all these things, interpretations, information arriving. But after 2 weeks, that never happened again, and I was basically translated by guys. Well, that was your tour. It's not gonna happen like that again, right? And I'm like,
Yeah, that's
okay.
that's 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 me every time I dive in on psychedelics.
And I don't blame you for
Every
diving
time.
in.
Like I like that's the one thing that I like to do. I like to close my eyes and go into my mind. Or if that's where I'm going, I don't know where the fuck I be. I don't know if Egypt is in my mind or what the fuck is existing in my DNA or wherever it's at. But
Well,
I
you're
like to.
traveling with it. You're traveling within your mind, your thought core, that basically you're returning to unification with source to degree with in your thought core, you're in your sector that has potential to any channel, any level that really has infinitum so-called ways and probabilities and possibilities to go. So yeah, what you're defining, yeah, you're taking deep dives into your thought core mind that is your projection to this reality and other reality doorways, portals, gateways that is either difficult to access without the stimuli. And
It's kind of
um,
it's kind of weird because like throughout all my dives, I kind of look at my higher self as being like the Godhead. It's
yes,
the like
yes,
my it's my higher self. It's this thing that I created over time, putting all the things that I thought were the best things inside this box, and I wrote God on it. You feel me? And
yeah. And I totally can relate
and then
what
that
you're defining.
thing, yeah, and coming in contact with that thing is like it's like meeting God.
Yeah,
Probably,
it's I call it the first perspective seat with source, right?
yeah.
you're going on a tour ride, like a roller coaster ride or a carnival ride through a carnival, right? And you're experiencing all these perspectives. Yeah, that would be for myself. Like when we leave from here, those are going to be all, or as we're leaving from here, or experiencing different dimensional planes. So, where else would anybody else want to be, right? There's so much information transfer and euphoricness of awe that you can't get bored in these places. There's no way this ride
No way.
anybody would want to ever end.
Well, yeah, because it's infinite. It's infinite. It's infinite, and the in like it's infinite to the way that everybody who perceive it can perceive it differently.
Definitely, and
Like
yeah,
that's how
no,
infinite it is.
yeah, and I always, sometimes question other people who haven't experienced it. They're missing out, but I always define maybe it's not meant in this cycle, or maybe it's just not meant for them to experience it at this reference in region point. But definitely, it opens up doorways and gateways, and gave myself experiencing what I did experience in my life through. I did mushrooms quite a few times in high school, LSD about 7 times,
Oh
but
wow.
it opened up different gateways and perspectives and information, I guess, enhancements, I would say, which would be like upgrades for myself. So, yeah, it's unfortunate that everybody doesn't get a little dose. Maybe the government could start putting it in the cereal or something.
No,
Cereal.
nah, cause the people that really ain't got it, that ain't got it all, they'll lose it all the way. They'll
Well,
fractal all the way out.
it'll be in the movie like Batman, where Scarecrow let out all the insane people from the asylum and all the
Yeah,
prisons.
yeah. They
Yeah,
just
I hear you on that.
be fucking
Yeah,
doing crazy shit, cause like everybody who reached that conscious awareness of just seeing that every one person, every individual is God. Man, they try to control and run things, and you got to do what I do, cause I'm God, and I seen it.
true, true. From my perspective, though, they are sort of doing that with. prescriptions that are like antidepressants, or the other way, if you're depressed, we'll give you something to lift you up. If you're too lifted up, we'll give you something to bring you down. Yeah, some of those do have those effects to some people where they sort of enter different states, but not like true
Yeah,
LSD or
no, I think so though, because you know, like when I talk to my mom and she talk about some of the medications that they had her on, they had her in those states to where she was entering the other realms and not
yeah,
knowing
some of
that's
them.
what was happening. Cause you know, people that what it is I think we turn this part of us off, because a lot of people look at it as being evil. They look at it as being evil, so I think it's something that we cut off over time and try to cut out. Like, especially if we see like another entity or we see something, it's like, you know, nobody else is seeing. It's like, nah, if I tell them that, they're gonna think I'm crazy, so I just keep it to
Ye-
myself.
Yeah, you know what part of it all I think is it's labeled on the people who have bad trips and bad experiences, but I truly believe if one was prepared and had, some type of insight on meditation on how projection responds to their thoughts and, to tune their trip before going on it, it wouldn't be so badly labeled, right? If people were
Yeah,
having awesome experiences.
it's kind of wild because I think we teach this thing of how to control and control ourselves in a better way. We teach it in so many different ways. It look like that's not what we teaching, but I think we just teach. We always been showing ourselves this and telling ourselves this, and you know, trying to well, you don't have to be the destroyer. But the destroyer
True.
don't even feel like the destroyer. The destroyer feel like they doing what's right.
Mm, correct. It's part of the process.
Yeah, which
The
is
destroying would be, from my perception, the distortion of one's reality, the basics of reality known, and the destroying would be entering into a different reality, so sort of giving a reintegration of a new creation when somebody comes back, right? They don't perceive reality the same as they used to.
yeah.
So in the actual destroying is like a restructuring of oneself. It could be if it leads to
It's
that.
it's
Some
it's
people,
kind of it's kind of weird because sometimes I feel like we create an infinite realities like as we go. Like right now, me sitting here talking about this, I'm not just generating this reality right here. I got other realities that I done generated in my own mind of, you know, my altered perception of things going this way or being that way, and I created it, and then I'm living it somewhere in my mind somewhere where I can't see. Like you get what I'm saying? It's like, so it's like we not just generating this one. Like as a
oh yeah,
whole, like we generating this one as a whole, and then we each one got our own little individual realities that we didn't took from other people, and we help making them better and generating those also while we generating our own or generating ourselves into the storyline of the story that's being told.
exactly. I just sort of labeled that. I got my own fun house built into my thought core. That's sort of
Yeah,
my own personal house, and it's also like booby traps for anybody that should be coming to my so-called house, right?
yeah,
Trying to hack.
yeah,
I
yeah.
could I have it well secured.
Yeah, you hit them with that booby trap, they be dummy confused. Like I didn't know. Yeah, I can't let
This wasn't here
everybody
last
in.
time, right? This wasn't
Yeah.
here last time.
Hey,
Yeah,
which
this
is
is.
weird because that makes sense because you know like like it was a time to where we let others control a lot of things that we were doing within life. You know, especially when we was doing a lot of shit we know we wasn't supposed to be doing. We was letting a lot of other ones influence us, you know, which I can't blame them, but I'm just saying they influence did tweak a person to go this way or go that way. And then once you
Oh,
start
definitely.
learning, you start like you said, start putting up them booby traps, and they can't get those thoughts in there no more to you. Like they
Yeah.
they be confused. Like, hey man, let's go do this robbery, and you hit them with that. Yeah, I mean they be like, oh shit, wait, what the fuck? Like, but I thought, like, nah. You see, you thought wrong.
Yeah, it would be like that was in here last time we were here.
Yeah,
Well, a lot more surprises in this fun house, right?
yeah. You used to always be ready to go. Like now, look at you. Like this is something wrong. Now I gotta fucking get a diffuser. Gotta get a gotta defuse that bomb, that booby trap.
Yeah, I think after a few times, like somebody becoming aware of this as you are, because I truly believe there's thought core hijacks where somebody comes into your sort of thought core that is like entering your computer, right, and tries to
Yeah,
manipulate things,
yeah.
and
And,
and and when it's rearranged and one knows how to regulate it, really stops because it's a dangerous place for people to go into somebody else's thought core that's been built differently, especially I call it like firewalled,
yeah.
guarding
But
protected and
it
stuff.
makes sense because like everything that we know we got from somebody else or somewhere else. So it's
Definitely,
like
yeah, of
it's not
course.
easy for your mind to come under that attack and succumb to it. It's not hard because we do that already. We just choose the things that we want to react and act to. It's like, oh, this over here is spiritual, so I'm gonna take this in. And yeah, this is a wild game, bro.
It is, and sometimes I call it the deceptive tactics is to actually bait somebody to go to their thought core. Then one is all of a sudden sort of getting these subliminal messages, and this guy's thinking this about that. It's almost like somebody baiting somebody to bring him into their house and then sort of torture him with negative energies and loose
Yeah,
harvest them, right?
yeah.
So it so it is really interesting that the variables and the probabilities and possibilities that you define really are limitless in those dimensional planes.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
gonna
one
loose
thing.
harvest you with my beautiful voice. Listen to what I have to say.
We heard you. But yeah, that shit is limitless. And it's crazy because like you see it now, bro. I see it all the time and I see, and but it's wild cuz each person is going the way that that individual chose to go. So it's like even if they choose to do something wrong, it's that individual. Like we can't like us, we sit back and we say, "Oh, we want things to be like this and we want things to be like that." Well, it don't work like that because everybody don't want it like that. But everybody's so-called way they want it or the good way is different. It's just totally different, and that's what fucks me up. It's like, damn, so even if we the same but we not the same but we the same.
Yeah, exactly. Wouldn't it be awesome to be able to tour to everybody's constructed sector? I call it the one's own personal source core sector, thought core, basically that is what's generating their digital holographic projection. Though
Like
with
every
with an agreement though to leave whenever you want, because how do we know that this Earth isn't somebody else's thought core that we were baited to go into, and now it has become a simulation, a type of fun house to get out of. So maybe we're in somebody else's thought core. We're just sort of
If
reconfiguring our system to leave from
I
here.
know, but yeah, true. I thought that was funny as hell. To like, I forget, bro. I just warped.
You just said some shit though.
Hey, that thought.
Nah, bro. Wait, what was it?
Let me out of this thought core prison. Ah.
No, it's like true. It's like sometimes we're like all trying to have the best possible time. It's like it's a scientific equation. Like turn on the music, now hit the fan, hit the feng shui. It's like all that trying to find the best way.
Yeah,
It's all just different styles. Like
and
trying
it's
to
all
love
different.
somebody. Do I want to love them? Like giving them something to make them like me or what I think, or by trying to like accept them. What level of acceptance? It's always that serenity. What am I accepting and trying to change? What's me? What's somebody else? It's amazing. Shit is crazy.
Yeah, it is. Yes, it
My dude
is.
said, "What if this is somebody else's thought or creation that no, we trying to get up out of?"
It
That's what he
is.
just.
But that's exactly what it is. It's
And they
somebody
all
else
trying
thought
to get
that
this shit.
that created this shit. But they
Well,
gave
the
you the power to create thoughts too. So
It
and
was the thought that your parents had
so
when they made you.
that's some trippy shit, bro. Because even when you think about all the religions and all these different, they all thoughts and ideas.
how do we know the Bible isn't somebody else's thought core program, right? Or any other spiritual literature, or the
Yeah,
guru book creating the whole scripting, right? The scripting, the spells, the words, the
yeah,
casting, right? The
yeah,
programming.
yeah. The programming, the all that, the spells, the all that. It's the book of spells.
So
Got some of the best spells.
the way I see it is a small percentage of people on this planet are actually breaking out of the thought core perceived in the Earth construct, the basics, the scripting that everybody's scripted with, what is known as the norm to know in this dimensional plane. So I truly believe when one isn't influenced by anybody or anything and is out of the control of the system and is not scripted by all the media programming and the basics, and one starts to actually exit that thought core and go into their own and start creating their own, uh, basically they start building on their own copy earth matrix, I define, and really minding their own business, where
Wow, man.
some of
I
these
think it's
people
like
get pissed off you leave their thought core, because if you're in their thought core deceived, you're bleeding energies out, you don't know what's happening, you're being basically farmed within somebody else's thought core basically, right?
Yeah, yeah, and
I think it's like
they do. Some will get pissed off. Like not now. It's kind of look with this with the internet and all these different things. People able to learn more and do all this shit just looking online. It's getting different. It is changing though because you know you see like the churches they starting to let gay people in there.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, it's changing. You even
I
see
think it's
gay
like all those like
preachers.
old forms, like a bunch of people way back, taking psychedelics or just
Technically, those
rapping.
churches
They'd
stopped
be
being
like,
Christian a while ago, and then they just started being weird about it.
Yeah, but
man, I think
Yeah,
those people, like
exactly.
those religion people back in the day that made up religion and made up those thought forms. Like, if we want to find the God that created man, we got to
I'm
get
just
past
I'm
man,
just saying the
the God
Amish
that
people got a
motivated
TV
anything.
show. I'm just saying, like they got a
I'll tell you, when I seen the Matrix go into hyper overdrive, when I seen this place completely shift, was about 2012. But was it by design? It's apparently the same year that Looking Glass was shut down, not operational. But what happened was I woke up and I was given all this information in about 2 weeks, and I came to this conclusion. I'm like, I came to this conclusion, like, these all these beings are taking my energy, and I'm like, that's it. I cut off everybody from energy. That's it. No more
yeah,
energy from my being to
No
anybody.
more loose for you.
yeah.
and I had this one doctor in a different district, this dentist, and he was sort of hinting about myself having some food, maybe, right? And I got the message loud and clear about what was being directed to myself, and it was like that same night I cut everything off. The next day, everything was just chaotic and crazy. It was like everybody's driving like maniacs. Personal associates driving in a car with myself were driving like maniacs, really agitated and stuff. It was just insane, right? Wow. So I realized, once somebody becomes aware and says, that's it, nobody gets to utilize my energy, I take it all back, and that's it, nobody's taking it. It actually is a done deal. But
Hey,
then after that, I noticed major dark entity attempts and manipulations with certain mid-etheric and astral devices being activated, like DPOMs, these kinetic pulses. I find I hit myself that go from my feet and sort of when they reach my head, wave out. But my head doesn't actually wave; it's my energetic being. Since
Wait, who sends out
2012,
the
that
kinetic pulses?
part of me,
Who sends them out?
they are what I call as mid etheric and astral off. They're offset where you can't see them, but they're sort of lingering in between dimensional fields, like thresholds between two dimensions. So
Hmm.
since 2012, I've been dealing with these, but for 6 years, I had no clue what was happening in this dimensional plane. So I was utilized. I told this story. I was utilizing JC for about 4 years, up to the sixth year. Nothing was happening, and then all of a sudden, I came across this book, The Evil Spirits and Devils of Babylonia, and was introduced to Babylonian goddesses and gods. And Marduk's name came in there. The next evening, I went to the superstore, and while I was sitting in the parking lot in the car, just getting some peacetime, so a voice came and said, "Ask Marduk," and I'm like, "What?"
Damn.
So I did ask Marduk about what after the sixth year, and then I utilized him for about, I guess, 3 years, 2 years, something like that. Then I stopped for a year, and I was directed by the same voice. Now you go to source directly, and that's when the support stopped. And I was like, "What?" So I tried 3 times in that day to get this being Marduk, a summon invoke him. Nothing was happening because whenever I'd summon and invoke him, I'd feel the embodiment power of him. Like I can feel this being's energetic field, and it was this awesome
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah.
But after he defined, the day I tried to summon and invoke him, I summoned and invoke Marduk to assist me, guide me, and whatever else you can show me, teach me, assist me within this ascension. Right then, this voice came as go to source directly, and I tried 3 times in that day, and I got the same reply. Basically, I'm like, I didn't feel his presence or anything. I'm like, I guess it's over, right? I finished my apprenticeship. I was kind of disappointed.
Oh
But
wow.
after about a year or two after that, just 3 days ago, I was getting this message, invoke and summon Marduk again, right? And I did, and I got major information downloads and different perspective, and definitely
Yeah.
the embodiment of this being's power. And I guess it's time to start the next level of apprenticeship. And so here I go.
Oh yeah, that's lit. That's lit. Cause once I like when I had seen the God Kali, like man, it's like I seen myself sit down and have a full conversation with this guy, but I'm looking in third person and I'm not even hearing what's being said. I just see me and her talking back and forth. And it's like I tried to visit that experience so many times, and it's like I could not get to it. I never been able to see it again.
Yeah, sometimes it's like a one deal sit down, like where
Yeah,
you get major synchronization or uploads, downloads of information, whichever way somebody perceive it. Like
yeah.
myself too, if I could have stayed in that 2 weeks of that tour of the Matrix, I would have stayed there journaling and just had a blast. But
But that's
it
the
lasted.
thing. I think that's why they always send us back because we will stay. We will let this go. Cause like, have you ever like went into that place and then it was like this place didn't exist though, no more. You was just full on in there.
Oh yeah, I was gone from this place for about 2 weeks, and I was
Yeah,
not so happy to return.
yeah. You'll stay, and they like, nah, you can't stay. You gotta come on now. If you stay here, your body over there gonna be crazy. It's gonna.
Yeah, I can tell you about some projections I seen in that 2 week period. Like I seen myself, okay, walking down the stairs when I defined the 2 weeks of the tour. So walking down the stairs, everything shifted to almost, maybe I would say almost a good 50% solidity phase shift into this channel, whatever it was. But
Yeah,
as I was walking, I knew it was in like a deep tropical type of rainforest with all these, like an avatar, but it wasn't glowing. But as I walked down the hallway, there's these two big mirrors that ends up being a closet. So I caught a bit of the, or maybe just before that, it was like I was being mirrored what it was. I was this reptilian type of creature, but the energy and resonance I felt was nothing like fear, and it was like the most powerful entity and being of energetic fields I have ever possibly felt. So I don't know exactly what it's translating to myself, but it's not like the reptilians they show. I've seen one on photos. It sort of resembled what was being reflected as what apparently I was. Maybe I shifted
yeah,
into a different channel avatar, maybe, or maybe that was a past life experience. Maybe many probabilities and possibilities.
yeah, many. With
So I
this,
still remember that. But this being wasn't evil. It was like just this energetic energy frequency. I knew this being was very, very powerful being of a type of species, whatever it was represented.
yeah,
So it was pretty cool. This other time, I was in front of the mirror, and I could sort of scribe in the mirrors when I was going through this process. It was such a blast. I could scribe basically on any computer screen, especially mirrors too. I could see many things
damn,
phasing, shifting, and changing. So I was looking in the mirror, and I see myself. It was anybody see the saga, the series on Star Trek, the Borgs? I was a type
Oh
of
no, I ain't
Borg,
seen
but I was a lot more machine than what was represented in the Borgs. I'm like, what the hell is this system trying to show me? What's it telling me? I'm a Borg. I'm a Borg right now. Am I sort of existing as an inlay and overlay? The system is messing with myself, making me into a Borg. But it was strange. Okay, but also when I was resting on the bed, that bed on the 2 weeks of period, I could see about very faintly, about 20%. It was like I was in some type of very evolved chamber. And it was these mechanical arms that were working around myself all night, or maybe all day too if I was laying there. But it seemed like they were building things on myself, like putting things on me, taking things off. And this is where I'm thinking, is it that Borg I've seen that is being built, or what's happening here? Or maybe it's just so I perceived that as maybe upgrading myself. I perceived it as better, as in maybe fixing some parts that were getting injured through the Matrix travel. So I got an insight. I was like, maybe it's a game. Maybe in the daytime I'm getting hit so hard when I lay down in the bed at nighttime to go to sleep. This machine or device in the Matrix is actually repairing my machine, right? So I don't know exactly what's going on, but it was quite interesting. I didn't feel nothing bad though when I was laying down and I can see these mechanical arms working.
Damn. What was they work? They was working on you.
Yeah, they're working on me, and I was aware they were sort of fixing or upgrading or modifying something to my vessel, right?
Yeah.
Because what we perceive on us may be something else inlaid and overlaid, sort of what I defined in the subdimensional planes that we can't really see and perceive, but others can.
Oh wow. Exactly, Theo. Exactly.
Oh shit, my fault. I thought I was on mute. I was in like a different dimensional realm.
I already know.
That's what you hear.
No,
Yeah.
you don't gotta go on mute. People just gotta if they turn you down halfway up and turn you back up when you talking, it'd be cool.
Okay.
The music be
Easy.
cool in
Has
the background.
has anybody else experienced like in their travels where their like their body, their vessels being manipulated, like altered?
Hell yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I done been on operating tables. I don't know what was going on, but I remember my one of my first DMT trips was like and I seen it a lot throughout tripping off DMT. I seen this guy just be drilling my forehead, and like it's weird because as he drilling, it's like a vortex that you kind of see, like almost like a tornado going around with all this shit flying through. It's fucking weird as shit, bro.
Oh, somebody's gonna hit mute. Wow.
Oh, you
Anyways,
good?
could I like a vortex?
Yeah, like a tornado, like almost like that, and then it's like you just see this shit floating around, going around like a tornado, and he just be drilling on my forehead. Just I don't know what the fuck he was doing, why he was drilling, but
So
I had
anything happen? Anything else happen after the drilling?
uh nah, it was just as he was drilling, it was just this lady that was walking around. It looked like she was looking at it was like probably like say if it was five of us in there and she would go stop at that one, look at that one, stop at that one, look at that one, stop at mine, look at me. And then one time she even did like a little weird ass dance while she was looking at him while he was drilling. But it was like, I don't know, that shit was fucking crazy.
I'm hearing what you're saying, but is he aware that his mute's not on?
Huh? You gotta hold his picture and turn it down halfway to 50%. Like if you click it and just hold it with your finger, it'll be
Yeah.
able to, you can slide it up and you can turn it down a little bit.
All right. I get it. I get it. All right.
Yeah, because I kind of sort of be liking to hear his progress. He been doing this guitar. He ain't started not too long ago, so
Yeah, he was saying he's at it about a year, so that's cool.
yeah, so yeah,
So yeah, obviously they're trying to do something, either assist you or manipulate. Either way, it's going to be one or the other.
yeah, yeah. But I don't think it was nothing bad. I didn't ever feel like it was something like bad happening. Like like
Yes.
I didn't been in places to where it was like twisted flesh and body parts everywhere, and I was
Oh
scared as
yeah.
shit at first because it was catching on fire, and then it wouldn't be on fire, and it was just nasty looking. I was just fucking scared, but I just like balled up my fist, and I was just like, okay. After about an hour or two of keep blinking and seeing that, it was like, fuck it, I gotta see. I'm gonna just take it and see what happened. And then it was like this. It was fucking crazy. This little eye thing covered in flesh like popped up like one eyeball, and it was like looking at me, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, what the fuck? And then
So
two other little
where did
eyes popped up on the side of that, and they rolled their eyes, bro. And I said, there's somebody playing with me. I said,
so
somebody
where
is
my,
playing with me.
my question is, where did they pop out of, like out of thin air, or were they in the wall, or through somebody
They
else
just
or a
came
device?
like out the bottom of my vision. I couldn't see what they
All right.
came out of. They just popped out of it. Just popped out the bottom of my vision. I couldn't see no bottom to it. So it was like that shit just popped up. And then the other two popped up, and they were smaller than the big one, and they rolled their eyes, and I was like, oh hell no. I said, man, something playing with me. This is not real. This is it. Can't be. I was scared that whole time for nothing. I forgot what else happened after that because it was so long ago.
Yeah, so you've seen some of the, I call torture cubicles and deeper pits of the astral. They're
Yeah, but
yeah,
that's the thing, right? You can look at it as being that and accept it as that and be in fear of it, or you can accept it and go okay and get past it. You'll push past that.
definitely. Yeah, I was curious. Where well, you said where you seen all that flesh torn up and twisted, and was there actually people being tortured in there by certain
No, no,
entities?
no, no. It wasn't nobody being tortured. It was just body parts, torsos, legs, arms, heads, just in
Just
different places. That
were
shit
they
was,
thrashed? They were thrashed.
yeah, like they was cut. They was just cut.
Okay.
And like I didn't been in places to where I seen like a lot of faces like kind of melted together, and they were like screaming like they were in pain or some shit. I didn't
Yeah,
seen that before.
I call them the torture cubicles of hell.
Yeah.
You probably went a level there. What happened to myself, I can tell you about an experience I had. That's the last. So basically, when I would use meth, right? I used it for about a year and a half. That ended about 8, 9 years ago, along with all the illicits, and it got up all prescriptions too. But one of the last times I went out, basically would have the same effects, I guess, as a stimuli, as a psychedelic to myself. So what I could do while I was on it is I could look at my computer screen. I can see into different dimensional windows, like scribing. The
Oh
last time
damn.
what happened was I had my basically having the tablet off, and I just sort of look into the reflection with the room minimal like light, really dim, but not exactly dark, but enough to see the screen reflection. So basically, what I got a tour of on my screen scribing was all the, like, I didn't finish it, right, because it seemed to not end. It was like all the torture cubicles of the hell. So
Damn.
what happened is it would show me one scene on the screen, and then when it would end, it would go up, like moving to another channel. So it'd go up like an elevator, then the other cubicle would come, and it was all these different tortures, and uh, it was in black and white, but it looked like CGI, but I knew it was just real. It was real time things being shown to myself. It just looked, it was black and white, kind of CGI, but it looked like real.
Yeah,
It was so
yeah, it
real. It
is,
was
bro.
more real than watching somebody videotape. And the energetic field of when I was viewing it was so dark, and yeah, it was really dark. Like it was just like the most dark, energetic fields I felt. But I wasn't in fearful. I guess I wasn't in fear, but it was synchronized. But I was just like jaw dropping open. I just kept looking, kept going. Next
Yeah,
one up.
yeah,
It
and
would
that,
it would show me the whole torture, and,
yeah.
and
But you
for
couldn't
these
you
beings,
can't be scared, bro. You gotta look and you gotta accept it. That's the one thing that I learned. You can't be scared. Don't be scared. Accept it. Look at it.
And I've never seen anything like this. Okay, usually the person being in the cubicle will be sitting on a chair or laying down doing something with a certain female, and some
Yeah,
females may not be what they are perceived to be in this dimensional plane. They may be these type of well looking females, but they're doing a lot to the male while they're in the act of what they do
yeah.
in the sex act. But anyways,
Yes, yeah, yeah.
this
Hey, I
this
seen people have
this
those trips.
this one, and it for the more okay, after certain cubicles that came up, it was just fire. There was nothing else. I'm like, that must be just maximum induction torture because you just burnt their crisp. It just showed fire and it would stay there for a while. Then it would move to the next one. But on a lot of these cubicles, it looked like almost a humanoid that would come in to torture this person that was kind of deformed. He was asymmetrically deformed, but it was a human, but not a demon. But from either their left shoulder or right shoulder, like an entity would emerge, like some type of beast, maybe a type of dragon, beast. I don't even know what it was. It just seemed like some type of demon would come out of the shoulder. And a lot of these times, these demons would breathe fire. And this person sitting on the chair, the person would walk into the room, and then this entity would come out of the rear rear deltoid version back of this guy's shoulder, and it would breathe a fire, and it would start right at the root base, basically at the tailbone of the reproductive organs, and it would cut this person in half and basically just split him right in half. This other one cubicle, I remember, this entity would come in and he would inject something in the private region of, I guess it was a male, I guess they could do this to females too, and I guess it was some type of torture device parasite that would go through the whole nervous system, and it would work its way up, and the person would start rattling, waving back and forth, like almost vibrating, many like vibrating so fast, like taking a twig and swinging it so fast in your hand. By the time whatever the torture was happening got up to the head, the person would be starting to be basically split in half, and
Dang.
once the maximum peak was reached, the head would just explode, boom.
Oh
But
wow.
like into pieces, right? Like gone.
Yeah.
And I was reviewing this for about, I'd say, an hour and a half, 2 hours. It just wasn't ending. I'm like, okay, maybe I could just do this later because I've had enough of this. But I never got a chance to review that again. It only happened once, and till this day, I was like, I should have just stayed to review it all, but I can't even remember how many variables it was showing me of different cubicles of torture. So I was informed the probability, possibility is some people with really bad karma may go there for their, what I defined, records of recordings for being really evil, right? That's the only thing I
Yeah.
perceive people going there for.
It's
But
wild, right? Cause like when you think about it, like that shit right there. Like one thing that I started kind of noticing is a lot of stuff that I see, it's playing out in real life. Like even if I don't want to
yes,
believe, like this shit is
yes,
really happening to people.
yes, on overlays that people can't see, right? It's happening. And boy, to some of these astral and etheric levels of, I call it these demonic tortures, they torture. I'll give
Yeah,
you another example.
but like people are like really getting kidnapped and getting tortured and shit in real life too. Like this
Yeah,
shit is like literally
and
happening to people.
what I've seen, okay, and I've reviewed for myself. I like to experience all events, even on video. Like I went not too long ago, maybe a few months ago, looking at cartel real time tortures, how they torture people. Beat
Yeah,
them up, shoot them dead, or
yeah.
cut them to pieces.
Worse than me.
They they even hack people's heads off with really like thin thread type of saws that takes a lot of time. But anyways, I sort of review these things not because I'm a psychopath. I like to be conditioned where I can see something like that and
Yeah,
say, okay, I've experienced it and it's nothing new to myself. But anyways, so I sort of use those videos for conditioning.
yeah. It's the light in the
But
dark,
anyways,
man. It's the light
yes,
in the
yes,
dark. You can't just fill yourself with light and not see no dark. Cause when the dark hits you, you're gonna be hurt. So you gotta
correct,
kind
correct.
of play. You gotta kind of observe both sides.
Yes, yes, because we must be prepared, conditioned, because who knows to what level of travel we may experience. So better to be prepared than not prepared.
Yeah.
So
That's,
what was I going to
but
define?
that's
Okay,
wild, man.
what I wanted to compare this to is these cartel members that think they're torturing people. They have no. I will define this after watching the Cubicles of Hell tour. They have no idea what torture is. That's what I'm going to define. They're not even close to torturing somebody, okay? Because these these well thought out tortures and devices and parasites that go into people that are for maximum induction torture is nothing compared to what these cartel or the worst death torture somebody could possibly do to somebody. It's just doesn't exist in this realm the way it was happening. That's all I could define. And I was
Hey,
informed this.
it's kind of weird, right? Because like I had experiences to where like I was on both sides to where like the person that was getting tortured was me and the person that was doing the torturing was me at the
Yeah,
same time. And it was like,
yeah.
man, that shit it was the trippiest thing, man.
Not too long ago, I had an astral travel where they tried to set me up and they were going to torture me, but I was aware in that astral travel, and I really effed up these three guys. And usually it's the strangest thing you say that, okay? Because in certain astral travels that are dimensional travels that can happen on like on psychedelics, it's like in that dimensional plane, I'm a natural born killer and I enjoy doing
Yes.
it. It's like almost automatic, and it's
Yeah.
like and and it's like when I do somebody in, it's like I'm doing a high five, sort of putting my fist up and going, "Yes, I got him!" Right?
Yeah, it's weird. You turn into a real warrior. A real
Yeah, the
warrior.
great. Yes,
I
yes.
like that's what I was saying, man. Like, bro.
The craziest thing. Get this: of all astral travels, I was in this level by some stairs, and to the stairs was like a metal railing for people to hold on. It's a little bit elevated up to the stairs, like up to, I would say, chest, solar plexus reference region. For some reason, 6ix9ine was in there, the rapper, and he was just bullying myself, and he wouldn't get it. I had enough with him, so I grabbed him with such a force, and I hit him. I basically hit him over the railing, and he split in half and was hanging there like a lambskin, right? And I was like, I took care of him like it was next to nothing, like drinking water. And I'm like, then I woke up, I'm like, what the hell? Why 6ix9ine? Then I'm thinking, then later I'm thinking, good, maybe 6ix9ine learned a lesson not to f with me in the ass when he did,
Yeah,
right?
man. 6ix9ine tried to send some information your way to save in your on your channel. And your
Yeah,
mom was
I got
like, "Yeah, we ain't having that."
I got him good though. It was like I defined, like like you've experienced. It's like next to nature. Okay, he doesn't get it, and this I just without warning grabbed him, slammed him, and that was over. And he split in half, like splitting a meat skin in half, and it was dripping. It was just
Yeah,
split in half like a gory thing. But once again, it was like next to nature. Oh well, just another one taking care of business, right?
yeah.
One time I put this character in my
So yeah,
dream.
that is weird.
Wait,
It's
hold
just
on.
strange things.
You gotta turn Theo back up now because he talking now. He ain't on the guitar.
All
What you
right, all
say,
right.
Theo?
I was just gonna say this.
I got it a ways up there, but let me see if it's just
One time I put this character
here
in
we
my
go.
dream that wasn't even supposed to be there amongst
Give
all
me a
my
second
friends
here.
I
I need
knew.
to kick
Like it
back
was a
in there.
character I made up. It's like this young kid. He was a culture vulture. He was
Which
coming through
icon
with
is
all
Theos?
culture. But he came through with
The
dream
blue
drugs.
one.
It's
All
just
right.
funny how
Oh, there it is.
Not
Okay, I hit
this
the
one.
wrong one. Okay, now I go. What's happening? Okay.
it felt like
Good.
that fool was really a program coming in that I created or something. An extra character.
I'm having problems getting that feature happening. So you just tap it once and hold.
123 mini.
Are you on Android?
Yeah, it worked the first
Go
time, but
go
now
to the viewer list,
Really.
like the user list. Oh shit! 1 second.
Just hold the picture, bro. Just hold on to his picture and let it go. And then you'll see the volume shit pop up.
yeah, there it is. All right, all right. Okay. Yeah, I got it now. Yeah, it
What
just
you
takes me.
saying, Theo?
Many characters.
Yeah, give me a second here. It's just the icon's not working correctly. That is strange.
Don't
Let
worry
me
about
try
it.
that again.
Oh.
Has anybody had this issue? What's happening is the volume is popping up, but it's almost off my screen, the bar now, for some reason.
Oh, I don't know.
Nah, don't
Is that
worry about it, man. Just hold the picture and then pull it up, and that's it.
You gotta hold it longer than normal, like an
yeah,
abnormal amount
it
of
is
time.
popping up.
Oh
And
yeah.
then
There you
scroll
go.
up and look for
But
the bar.
soon as I try to lift up
You
that
scroll up on the
icon with the
menu,
volume control, it slides. There it is. All right, you're right.
try to
Okay, okay,
tap
got it.
on
All
it
right, all
instead
right,
of
all right. Got
sliding
it,
it.
got it. Okay, you're right. So you got to slide that up too as well. All
Make
right.
sure you condition that one in singular.
Sometimes you gotta
Yeah,
tap on
thanks.
it instead of slide it. But that's what she said.
Maybe you'd like to repeat what you stated?
Beat it star. But yeah. You got it now? Good?
You can
Hello,
hear him
hello.
now, singular.
Hello?
No, I don't hear, and I turned the volume up. Let me see. Maybe
You
it's
hear me,
just not
brother?
enough. That's odd.
Nah, it's alright, brother. I don't know. I'll
You
just
probably
be
turned
here.
the volume to everything up. You got to click the little squares up there, the little squares
Yeah,
up there to make it go to all the
yeah,
squares, and then you got to hold his until it pop
yeah,
up.
yeah.
I can
I
hold it.
got his on full, and it's not on mute, so I should be able to hear him unless they're. Maybe you
Nah,
could
you
try
good.
talking. Is he talking right now?
Hello? Am I talking? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can barely hear you for some reason, and I got volume at maximum. So
Is it okay now?
Oh, then just
Yeah?
go out. Just go
Good?
out and pop right back in. Then that's
yeah,
all you
that's
gotta
what
do.
I was
Just go out
looking.
and pop right back in.
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
Put your right leg in. You put your right leg out.
The whirly pig is coming, the whirly pig is coming, the whirly pig is coming, and we all bow down. We all bow down.
Right on time.
The whirly
Right
pig is
on
coming,
time. Right
the
on
whirly pig
time.
is coming, we all bow.
The exiled one.
I'm the one, the two, the three, the many.
All right, I'm back in.
13.
Hopefully, you can hear everybody now.
The none, the all.
What are we doing? Chilling? We
Well,
live?
we were
The
just
whirly
talking
pig is
Oh
about
yeah,
coming,
just
and
we
we
just
different.
all.
live. We're just chilling.
Yeah.
I,
So yeah, I'm totally surprised. I'm not surprised, but it's good to hear somebody else is going to those to those places, right? Oh, also, I want to tell you what
Everybody
I've
here
also.
is. I'm sorry to say,
Dr.
everybody
Seuss in
here
there.
is.
Yeah, that is a good thing of experience. It's good conditioning, being prepared for the who knows what, who knows what.
Shiva
So
them.
I did this other astral travel, and I was by this female, and I she was gardening, and she wasn't aware of this human. It was human looking, I guess, discarnate or astral being or whatever you want to call it, evil person. He had this automatic nail gun, and while she was tending to her garden, sort of ducking down, rearranging the flowers, doing her gardening, this being was coming around with a nail gun and putting nails in her head, like pop, pop, pop. I think he put about 7 rounds into her head at various stages, and then all of a sudden she got kind of woozy, dizzy, and then she passed out. So maybe this is happening around certain people that are just not aware. You ever have a phantom pain that just comes out of nowhere? Just something to keep into perspective. But anyways, I don't know if she died. I don't know if that was just that scenario showing myself that things are happening sort of where people can't see other dimensional beings actually doing harm to themselves. So that was quite interesting to myself.
Yeah, that's because these interdimensional beings that be doing stuff, they hide in your thoughts and your ideas and your beliefs and all that bullshit.
Yeah,
See,
and it arrives
let's see,
back
baby.
to
I read about serial
one's
killers
one's house,
since
one's
elder
house.
refuse to watch any videos. I ain't by clicking that shit. No,
Hostess with the
there's
mostest.
no way. Low
Venus
energy.
style.
She deposit the mind. See, them- seen plenty though. On a
Whirly
lot.
pig is coming. The whirly pig is coming. The whirly pig is coming. And we all
Shit,
fall
yeah.
down.
Had a few seconds or glance. Or two see girls, one girl. Like 5 seconds, though. Not watching that. Yeah, hey, man, it's on you to let what you watch influence you. But watching stuff like
Ah,
on serial killers and stuff like that, that's just showing you how some people are. Like, I want to look
yeah,
into the mind of everybody. I'm not going to lie, I do for some reason.
Empathization.
I want to
yeah,
look
and
because,
I don't know if it influenced, but these have been happening on and off
You
even
don't know you're
before.
reading the comments, bro.
oh, yeah, yeah, I'm reading the comments on YouTube. Sorry. Uh, well, you see me do that sometimes when y'all be talking, like I'll start reading the comments.
Oh yeah, I thought maybe somebody from this panel was leaving a comment that, well,
Nah.
definitely could influence. It could influence, but somebody who's aware, I don't believe it'd be an influence. But then again, it could influence. Maybe somebody watching enough stuff may travel into one of those type of
Yeah.
channels, right? And
Yeah,
go at it.
some people do watch it in order to, kill their wife and get away with it. Some people do that shit. But like it's there because some people do this shit, and just you being aware of it make you conscious that there are people out there like that in order so you can be careful because it's people that then got in marriages and lived in marriages their whole life, and then their husband end up being a serial killer and they didn't know the whole time.
And just thinking of it from their perspective,
That's
like really
facts.
trying to empathize, like that they did nothing wrong in a way, but
Yeah.
also whatever. But I think it's
Oh,
part of the
wow.
world. It's
Fifty
like the
tabs.
treasure you want to find. Where
Hell,
you
it's kind
scared
of
to look.
grumpy. Oh, next week, just read.
Sometimes you gotta find out.
Medical. Yeah, sometimes you gotta find out. He said, I stay up all night with 50 tabs about serial killers, kinda grumpy, or the whole next week just reading it, or O2 W2. Yeah, I don't, man, my girl watch a lot of stuff like that. Like, I don't like watching that stuff, but since she watch it, I can't be no bitch about it.
They
So I
say,
gotta,
remember Simba, be careful. Don't go out to them
I don't do it
hyena
all the
lands
time,
just for
right?
no
I've done it a
reason.
few times, but sometimes when I'm just in that mood, just to see what these people to the levels of extremes they go. But they
yeah,
have no clue. They have no clue what they're
read
doing.
articles. Oh,
For
yeah.
number one is I'd never do that because that's just not in my protocol. Well, maybe in different channels
See,
where one enters as an astro travel, they have that program upload. They're like natural born killers, right? It's like they're in the
I'm
game to that
telling you,
channel. What's happening?
for that shit. Cause look, okay. I think this is what changed my mind about everything. She was watching this one where this dude, he was arsonist. He was setting houses on fire, and
Okay.
some of the houses he was burning people up. But when he set the house on fire, this motherfucker would jack off and look at the fire. I'm
Yeah,
just
he's
saying,
getting.
when I seen that, I say, yeah, people take it to the extremes. But this is what people do. It's people out there that just do shit like this. It ain't, you can't change that. Nobody's going to be able to change that. If Jesus couldn't do it,
No,
nobody can do it.
it's
Not right now.
also, some people may view those things and get influenced, and then all of a sudden, lose control and uh, play it out in this
Yeah.
material plane. But it's people need to have self control and realize that certain channels are designed for certain things, and this channel isn't designed definitely for that.
Yeah.
But on this dimensional channel, we call the material. Anybody killing in real time is in for a big surprise. It is like, okay, when somebody goes to kill somebody else, they're in a parallel copy. They're not really harming the being they're perceived to be. Sure, in this
Yeah.
reality, they get bumped off, they get killed, they get off, knocked out, whichever way they call it in the so-called lingo of the Matrix. But in actual fact, it's a karmic mirror. It's actually, in fact, is the person they're killing or torturing, doing harm to, that's something in the future that's being collected to their records of recordings. And for some of these severe serial killers or murderers or torturers, whichever way it may go, doing their business, they're not realizing the potential of the cubicles I've seen. I was made very aware. Some of
I,
these beings are going to be shown what torture really is. Okay, they
look,
have no clue what they're
look,
looking
it's
at.
weird, right? Because like I know it's some messed up shit that goes on, but it's that shit don't be no different than the animal kingdom. When you see animals run down
There it
other
is.
animals and eat them, oh my god,
There it is.
bro! You ever see a fucking antelope getting eaten from the ass up and it's still alive, looking right at the motherfucker eating?
Yeah, I've seen some of those. Oh, what they used to represent is the cow slaughterhouses, and they don't do that anymore. I used to grab some videos because I did become vegan for about 7 years,
Yeah,
but the
yeah,
last few
yeah.
years, I'm back to normal eating meat. But the way they were killing these cows is the cow getting killed, slaughtered by the butcher. All the other cows were lined up, and they were seeing the other cow getting slaughtered. And I could see all these other cows, they were trembling and shaking. They knew what was going on. But some of
Yeah.
these butchers, wow, man, the way they would, okay, the way they did is they slit the throat, and then if the cow was really too active, then the guy would go for the tendons on the legs, slash those to get the cow down. Then
It's it's weird because we
basically,
don't think that these animals like have feelings or none of that shit. But like I was watching some shit on killer whales today, and it was showing a killer whale that had a baby, and the baby died, and they said that the killer whales they will hold on to that baby, keep pushing it through the water, and for like 3 days, maybe up to a week.
yeah, and
And
that's
I was like,
sort
wait,
of,
hold on, bro. I didn't think they did. They would.
it's sort of, I guess, a shock. It's hard to accept because a lot of them have a high intellect, some of these mammals.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
they
what a
do.
dimensional,
Yeah, they
what a,
have dummy high intellect.
so,
Dr.
yeah.
Smiley. They got dummy high intellect. That's the crazy thing about it. We just the smartest right now. I know easier said than done for real. But we should be striving away from our animal nature or possible at least. Yeah, yeah, that's true. I'm not saying like, I'm saying like you got other people out there that use that animal nature in a way that's just fucking us off. And it's always gonna be somebody like that. Despite what we feel and how we try to change things. Like we've been trying to change these things forever, thousands of years. We've been trying to change it. But we always go back to that animal side, bro. We destructive. And it's like I know we want it to be good, but a lot of people that want it to be good too, they good is bad. It won't control and some other shit. They good is bad.
So, what is people's perspective here? That animal side of humans that where they lose control and they do become animalistic.
I
Can it
think
be
animals
changed,
always know.
altered? For myself, I
I,
see it as a not desirable program, like something you can remove from a programming from a
And
computer. But of course, it
yeah,
takes what?
That
How could I define it?
question.
it takes a long. It would take
cheers.
many years. Yeah, cheers. It'll take
It
many eons. It'll take eons and
I
eons.
think, what if animals were all just
so I guess
joking?
it
Like
can
you
be
can't get
compared
some out
from
of
my
character.
perspective,
I'll
like when
answer that with
somebody.
a question.
When somebody
If
what?
we
What
all
was it?
point up, if we all point up, who's pointing the right direction? If we
Damn,
can figure out who's pointing the right direction, then we can figure out the answer to your question.
damn. Everybody gonna be pointing in the right direction. We all point up.
But how about if the perception of somebody's perception is really altered, where it's a reverse field, where they think evil is actually good and good is actually evil, where sub-serial minds of killers are actually twisted to that degree.
Yeah, and it's like, how do
Like
you
we,
how do you
yeah.
change that? That's like
Like
it's like I said, bro. It's like trying to stop the animals from killing the babies of other animals. It's not gonna happen.
it's kind of like that Rick and Morty. Like Unity comes through, and it's only a matter of time. If someone else gets a hold of Unity who doesn't have that
Yeah,
interdimensional
it's almost
travel,
like
like if that thought form isn't a
a
wise
dark
one,
influence of a dark, you want to call it demon program that is animalistic, where somebody loses their self-control of logic, reason, and rationality, and they get the animal mind of hunt and instinct to, for the draw of blood.
Yeah,
Whether,
but that's the wild thing about it. They not wrong. Like they wrong to me. I would think it's wrong, but they not, which is the weird part about it.
yes, while being under the influence, it's almost like a hypnotic state. It's almost like they're like what where we were just talking about going to a certain astral level of a travel and being a natural killer instinct to the that channel is almost comes natural. It's almost like they're being displaced and being deceived to commit something in this dimensional plane where it shall have a consequence if the person is caught.
But even your cells are eating each other, right?
Yeah,
On
Yeah,
what
I
yeah,
can get
level?
it.
All the time you
yeah.
On
can.
what level is this right
Huh.
or wrong?
I, I I'd like you. I'd like
What?
to. I'd like to hear this. I'd like you to expand, if you
Hell
so
yeah, I want
would,
to hear
on
it too.
people eating each other. I really, because I have my own
She
information
said
to
How?
add.
cells. Literally, the cells in your body will eat each other. That's what white
Your
blood
cells,
cells.
bacteriophagy, all those cells that eat.
autophagy,
But how about
autophagy.
the other point of view perspective too is the negative narcissists who are aware how they can leech negative
Well,
energy
they
from
eat
others
too.
and act.
Yeah, eating too. It's
everything,
consumer, prey, and predator. Which one are you?
everything gotta eat,
Yeah,
You know.
yeah. Well, yeah,
even the conscious mind.
Also, you could be a consumer or a producer or both. You know, it's the pattern in the ecosystem.
Does the air obey our boundaries? The air in our body,
And
does it obey our boundaries? Or
you
the water?
can.
What about the water? Does the water obey our laws and our
Yes, let there be light.
no, the water and the air leave freely.
I don't know. When I
They
go
pass
piss, it, I'm
freely through
pretty
the
much
body.
doing what I wanted to.
I just turned the water on. I said this shit better come on, and I turned it off, and I said it better goddamn well go off too. We
Oh,
try to
Booker,
control
you're
everything, but we can't
fine.
though. I get what you're saying, Exile.
Yeah, but I
We
mean,
got fired
honestly, the
first
water
fire,
is
like
mutable. It's transmutable through vibration of your
Ego.
voice and your thoughts. So is it not changeable?
Yeah, here you go.
It is changeable.
Yeah, it's changeable. How many grams do you take?
changeable doesn't mean that
10.
they're we
How
put a
many,
boundary
how many
and
grams
obey.
you take? Jamaica, so I could take half.
Bro, I ain't going in till tomorrow.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna wait then. I'm gonna wait. You're
Yeah.
right.
I'm in. True, you gotta
all
go
right.
in
Oh
So
with
if
goddamn! How much you take, Theo?
like 2 grams.
Okay, I'm with you.
I'm away. I'm away.
But amanitas, don't try amanitas though, except try them, but don't. Obviously, anything is not recommendation. Only experience of a tale, which is fairy
so
tale like,
we know that
something only
water
for entertainment
reacts
value.
to vibrational frequencies, and its crystal crystal fluid structure can be changed. It's crystalline fluidity. Now, what's people's perspective here? Can the perceived solid matter do the same? That is actually in a fluid state.
Yes. No.
Right.
Yes.
It depends. It depends. Like I don't
It,
think if it was to do it, it wouldn't do it in the same exact way as water does. Like, um, I mean, are you talking when you say like physical things? Are you talking about like sentient things, or are you talking about just objects physical objects in general.
Solid and
Physical objects. Physical objects.
Hmm. Probably not.
That
Well,
is a
there's
tough
this
call.
there's this people, I think it was MIT, where they created this it's a sound wave thing where they can put out fire with it.
No.
Have you ever seen that?
Yeah.
So you are controlling an element in that sense, you know, with a non-element kind of. Different
If
meaning.
anything, I can imagine it'll just be like causing a force onto the physical object, and you'll have something like levitation or something.
Ego, when's Joe Nanu Kennedy and SK here?
I've been here. I've
Are you
always been
talking
here.
about the vector flow vortex? That kind of force.
I'm not really sure what that is. I never heard of that
I'm
per
gonna need
se.
you to
But
research.
I've seen where we've been like doing like, you know, scientific tests on sound and how we've been able to levitate things with sound and vibrations alone. So like, you know, if we end up the same sound, the same type of vibrations were placed onto water and makes these amazing patterns that look like mandalas, all different types of mandalas all the way around. So yeah, it'll just be like levitating or like having like a force placed onto the physical object because like it's, you know, it's so condensed. It's a physical thing, so it's not gonna spread out or like expand. If anything, it'll just move.
That is spreading out and expanding. But
Damn, it's 10 o'clock now. I'm gonna be up all night.
Man, it's 1:30 where I'm at. What's up?
It's about
Hell no.
10:30.
it's been your bedtime.
I'm gonna catch up to you in about 30 minutes, Theo. Yeah, that's way past my bedtime. I can hear it in my voice.
It's about that time.
But the talks be so interesting.
Yeah, it's just been going in the interesting direction. Interesting things being brought to the
So
table.
hold up, man. Back to your question, bro. What's up with that? The water affecting sound.
Well, I have
Yeah.
another question. How fast does anyone here perceive that the cells in the body could be repaired?
Well,
Renewed?
the blood cells repair themselves.
All cells. All cells. All.
Instantly.
Isn't it like every 2 years? Hold on.
Wait, hold on.
Bones are every 2 years, and there's something that's every 30 days, and then there's another one that's every 3 months. Blood cells, skin cells. I think skin cells is every. Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah, I thought.
Yeah,
Wait,
the
I didn't
cells.
think cells repair themselves. I thought they just replace themselves because they
That is replacing is repairing. It renews. So your body, your bone, when you die, your bone is the youngest thing in your body, kind of.
How about this? Okay, go ahead. I'd like to hear this.
It has bacteria that eats out the dead stuff and it shits out new bone.
How about if everything was taught to us was just a lie to stagnate what can actually be done? How about if we could program them to do whatever we want them to do and how fast we want them to do it?
Carbon is cancer, carbon is diamond, carbon is coal. You just how you express it, how you program it, right?
a lot of people be dead right now, probably.
I mean, carbon. We're carbon though. We're carbon copy, carbon dating, carcinogen, carbon. It's a carbon universe.
Apparently, there's silicon-based life forms too,
Silicon
integrating with the silicon chips. on computers, right? And maybe that's where the more enhanced beings. That's where the more enhanced beings are. They actually have maybe altered their genetic structure to be silicon based life forms, silicon slash hybridized carbon based life forms, where they can synchronize to the technologies, the silicon core chips. Hey, that's a possibility. But why I represented that was I had this article, I have this website, say it, but I can't recall its name. I was I was basically under the programming understanding of the teachings of this world. I had understanding it was every 7 years they completely regenerate themselves and replace themselves. But as I was reading this article, this website was talking about the different ascension stages and the dimensional technologies too, and also was getting into how fast one's cells completely regenerate. And on the more advanced levels, I think it was getting to level 7. It was 6 or 7 was the most advanced it got to in this information to this website. At first, it went to something, I think it was an hour to a certain level that's really progressing somebody who becomes aware. And then the next level went to 45, and then the next level went to half, and then the next level went to 15 minutes. And then I'm like, hold on a minute here, okay? And it was quite feasible. All the technology, uh, integrations, and even speak about the black guitar level of technology, and that's apparently a really that's just a level that was integrated, introduced there. But from my understanding, what I understand, the levels of technology was hitting it bang on to what I was understanding of my ascension. And so this information was quite feasible. Then I'm like, wait a minute, 15 minutes, so it's only level 7. Well, how about level 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15? And then I realized one could really regenerate the cells as fast as they can perceive with their thought of intent, it happening and holding it and feeling it and knowing it's done. So I practice this regenerating myself. Sometimes I can hold it. I do 5 minutes. Very rarely half an hour. I'll sort of regenerate myself. But definitely when I do half an hour, the next day I look at myself, I look many years younger. It does work. Absorbing, processing, and negative field energies that are always flying around the air, known as bleeding energetic fields from anti beings. So there is always energy to be absorbed, processed, and converted. I'm highly going to suggest for people here getting information is in this dimensional plane, you're not supposed to deplete your own energy field. We could go to our core, but it's not meant to be here like that. It is like when we're absorbing, processing, and converting negative field energies, we're actually accelerating the process from negative field beings to be accelerated to an accelerated rate where we're assisting sort of cleaning up the garbage flying around through the air or the not desired frequency fields. I don't like saying garbage because nothing truly is
Yeah.
garbage.
Nature wastes
So,
nothing.
so I would be perceived as a negative cyberspace vampire of energy absorbing, processing, converting, where I'm absorbing negative energies, but the other cyberspace type of vampires would be ones who are deceiving luminary beings to convert their energy to darkness. So the difference is I don't do it through deception. I just tap into negative field energies that are naturally being bled out, represented as abandoned ships of energy, people that don't know what is happening and are dark. Well, I'm just assisting to clean up the frequency fields that are just up for grabs and really taking energies from beings who are not aware or sort of aware but not really on the ball with their energy work. Bleeding energies would be the anti-matrix field where one is conducting their energy out and up. That's broken up, and I define that as the dark anti-field. It's also known as anti-gravity dimensional plane of field, and the laws of physics that I govern myself to would be of implosion in conduction of attraction down fields that is feeling. The other field up and out would be the sensitization of anti-field, different laws of physics, different feeling, which I define to myself. When I feel it, they're not enjoyable at all no more. So in actual fact, people are doing that all the time. When somebody is really joyful, if you pay attention to your energy, when you're feeling joy and really that perfect moment, if you trace your energy, it's actually flowing inward into yourself and downward, defining your proper gravitational field of in conduction flow of down. In and down would be gravity. Up and out would be the anti-gravity. I call it the negative reality channel. So yeah, just something to throw up here for information for people to utilize. And yeah, there's nothing wrong with processing energetic fields. For myself, I don't mind when people go negative on panels. There's certain panels I participate on, And if they're not aware, and I am participating at that panel, well, I'm just processing the dark energetic fields and participating in sequences that I find, will be interesting to step into. Though I don't work the person that's dark. I represent accurate information of truth, possibly trying to make a turn in the energetic field. But if they don't get it, I just sort of let them burn in their own chaotic field that they're being deceived to exhibit dark behaviors, characters, and traits. So for myself, it's like conditioning, learning, but also I'm doing energy work at the same time. So I can't be deceived to turn dark, get angry, get a resentment or an indifference of somebody on a panel, because then I would be turning dark and bleeding my energies out. And basically, anybody
You'll
who's
just be
aware of doing energy work on. Go ahead.
you'll just be mirroring them.
Yeah, exactly. We'll just be amplifying the dark field of fire. And anybody who's on the ball around the planet doing energy work, synchronizing to the nets, there actually shall be absorbing, processing, converting my energy because I'm being deceived. So the technology of the nets, the technology of the quantum computers, CERN, HARP, Wi-Fi, smart technology missions, cell towers, basically the nets can either be a terrible thing for somebody, these Wi-Fi smart technology missions, or they can be utilized to synchronize to the technologies, and actually then it becomes your nets you fish with because you reverse the fields by being aware that the technology to one's parallel copy matrix to their copy matrix Earth, everybody has their own sphere copy to regulate. So either the technologies could be anti-dark or they could be basically anti-gravity dark, or they could be tuned to be the proper gravitational fields of inconduction and down, also known as the black hole uh, what was it called? Viper Vortex Technologies. This is all the technologies being represented, even car engines, electric engines, all types of engines are Viper Viper Vortex engines. I was actually revealed this in Astral Travel. I was shown about 18 things that would be removed eventually from this dimensional plane, not utilized anymore as Viper anti-field vortex technologies, when that was probably way in the future. But I was sort of giving many sort of tours of things that would happen and also introductions like tours of things happening. So it was quite interesting in this ascension process. And yeah, so just for people to be aware is there's nothing wrong with absorbing, processing, converting energy. And for one to get to that point, well, one has to have complete self-regulatory control to not turn dark, is to not utilize dark programming. It all starts off with the basic resentment. Resentment is the biggest scam. Most of us, if not everybody in this matrix, born into the families they were born into these families to get their conditioning. And of course, most people with blood relatives, immediate mother or father, usually there's some type of resentment. They did this to me. That little resentment is like a thorn of dark anti-field energy that sticks in somebody until basically they clear that repressed energetic field. So, and then it escalates. You get a resentment, you get anger, then escalates to other things: jealousy, hate, and then there's ego,
Depression.
conceitedness, pride, yeah, depression, and all that stuff. So, what are all these things? Depression
Regret.
and all the other labels too that could lead to
Emotional mind
schizophrenia
fuck.
or well, I have a different perception. There are actually programs that it is like demonic possession insertion program templates, and so
Slow
this is
motion?
why I
Oh,
define for myself. Can you repeat that?
I said so. It's slow motion. Okay.
Yeah, so basically, it is like program insertions. Every dark perceived character trait, whether it be jealousy, hate, anger, arrogance, conceitedness, resentment, depression, you can see those as program insertions into a computer like that are viruses that are designed to script somebody dark. So what is a possession? Well, a possession is a type of program. What are actual demons that can teach somebody or harm somebody? They're actually demonic programs. This is why one must tame their dragon beast within themselves and not be turned dark, and utilize the dark and the light dragons to learn from them. Because one that so there are some people that
do
just
you
practice dark arts like
do you
black
think you
magic,
kind
and
of
hence
wanna? Do you think you kind of wanna learn from both sides?
You're supposed to.
I
definitely it
was
is a
about to
must.
say,
It,
That's
it,
what.
it is a
That's what.
must. It's like
That's like if you look at the like Harry Potter, you have to learn the Muggle world and the magic world.
Yeah.
Well, just to clarify that, it is like the yin and the yang. You have to have both to be completed in the initiation sequence to perceive and conceive and discern light and darkness, because some people are just trained in darkness, you know. Well, if you're dark, then you're blinded. If you only see in no darkness, you're blinded by the darkness. If you only see no light, then you are blinded also by the light. But when you, that is a split duality, is
Do you
dark
think
and
it's
light
kind of
perspective.
do you think it's kind of trippy how like when you see the yin and yang, like the black have a white eye and the white have a black eye?
Yeah, it's saying sort of integration, right? A balanced state of the darkness sees the light and the light sees the darkness. And then once there is a singular field of frequency attained, the singularity, then one, how could I define this? Isn't either light or dark, but they're utilizing it, but neither are part of it. It's a different dimensional frequency field. So if one is dark or one is light or one is imbalanced, they have what I define as the split duality, polarity perception point of view that keeps them in darkness. So one could be blinded from the light or one could be blinded from the darkness, but the only way to get a first to get a singularity perspective where you see both sort of where you are seeing it from a triangulated point of view where you're sort of in your vessel, but you're sort of a spectator seeing both, uh,
Yeah,
both of them at the same time, and one is keeping check, one is keeping the other in check and creating a type of balance and synchronism.
I think that's the
So
thing to do is like kind of look at yourself from the outside, because when you looking from the inside out, you didn't took on so many different perspectives. You can't see the full like version of everything.
Yeah, and
'Cause
you introduced the critical
correct.
word here, which was, I think you said, triangulate.
Yes.
So
triangulate.
instead of one and two, off and on, off and on, off and on, if there's a third thing, which is actually the thing which the thing is going through, which we're not counting, that's the third thing. So it's not just two sides, there's actually three sides. Then
Correct.
four
It is
sides,
like it is like
five
the new.
sides, six sides.
It is
So either way you go, I mean, that's why they're putting a cookie cutter on something, saying something that's inherently evil, saying something is inherently good will cause problems. Because now people have to live up to that meaning. You have to live up to that meaning, whatever you define this thing as. Because actually, right, a rose is not a rose.
Huh.
I,
Huh. You
so,
named it that.
right.
true. So until one, what I define, achieves a singular perspective, they can't see the true aspect of light and darkness, which are actually working together in this simulation to enlighten somebody to go beyond the dimensional plane and channel polarity. So when one achieves singularity, there's no positive negative field of perception and perspective. It's basically a singular. How can I define this?
You
Well,
know,
it
you know
looks
what
like
phrase?
go ahead.
It, the phrase that comes to mind when I listened in, I think it was the night before last when you first hopped on and started talking about the polarity and the singularity and how dividing it kind of split us up and kind of made us to where we could be blinded to the oneness.
Perfect. Yes.
I think of the old phrase of divide and conquer.
Yes. And this brings to myself to say is whoever made up this law that our minds are two halves, could it be the information represented to us as our mind is right and left, and they do different things actually splits our mind and is part of the agenda to power down one unified singular field. For myself, I don't have two halves. My perspective is they've been unified to one singular field. So this is perfect you brought this in, because this could add to the information then I can clarify what I
You're
was trying to
going
clarify.
a little bit into personal perspective or speculation there, but you're talking about discernment, our ability to discern one thing from another. That is both our greatest attribute and perhaps our greatest detriment. the knife is not inherently wrong until you start yourself high with it. So to know if the water goes in the mouth and not feet, right? Yeah, the water goes in my feet sometimes, but if I want to take what we call a drink, then the water goes in my mouth. I've got to be able to discern that. We can point people on a planet who can't feed themselves. So we,
You sound a little muffled, Exile.
Yeah,
You
you're
start
coming
muffling a
choppy.
little.
Yeah, you seems like you have a lot of good information flowing. Is it possible for you to step back out and in and continue? Because I like to hear the information you're bringing to the
my
table.
mic's close to my mouth now. I appreciate it.
Okay, there it is.
So
It's much clearer now.
yeah, I'll just let it go. That's good.
Yeah, and you're right. It is based on having the perspective to discern, and discernment is a key factor to discerning and sort of putting things into the equation and not being deceived by going to one side. So, because it's like a war. If I'm on one side of the war, then the other side of the war is at war with this side, and if I go to that side, then I'll see their perspective. But if I stay to what I define a neutral field, a singular field, and don't take sides of the war, then I can see both the sides of the war. And most people know most wars don't resolve nothing, and both sides are blinded by whatever they're perceiving because they're one-sided perception. They are split sort of to right and wrong, bad or good, or this or that. So So this is the best way I could define why the singularity can perceive and discern both and utilize both for going through this process. Okay, when one is split, especially in perception wise and discernment, it does not define one becomes blinded when they can perceive both. It is like there is darkness and there is light, and one makes decisions and preferences of what to engage in. But by being able to discern both, then one is never deceived nor enticed nor manipulated by darkness. They cannot be because they know all the dark tricks because the darkness is illuminated by the perceived luminary, the light, and then darkness almost counterbalances the light too, so one can see the light. So, like I defined, if one is just in the light, that's all they know is the light, then they know nothing about darkness. If one is in the darkness, all they know is everything about darkness, so they can't perceive the light, or they perceive the light as an anti-field reversal, and perspectives are bent and warped on both sides. So, the best way I could describe what happens is it's like this: to step out to the third triangulating discernment, one needs to power up their engine from split duality, polarity, their energetic fields. So if the positive and the negative are like a plug, and when they touch each other, they create a plug into the singularity. One powers achieves what I define as optimum resonance frequency, an energy frequency that actually puts them into a different state frequency, almost like going to a different dimensional channel. Then one can perceive this dimension. It's like they're here, but now they're sort of traveling through this dimension in a singular field. So to achieve a shift out of the polarity channel, one has to like power up their ship, their vessel, their engine to a singular field. That is their thought core of perception of intent through being informed. And then when what say I define this, you need to power up you say you have a very evolved ship, your thought core, and the engine has been split in half, the mind. And you can't leave that channel to discern it unless you achieve singularity that requires a certain amount of frequency resonance power to achieve optimal frequency resonance, so you can channel change to be shifted out of this dimension. Then the triangulation of the third perspective, though you are still within this channel, it is like you're traveling through it, but now you're in a different frequency resonance bubble, having what I define first perspective, being informed by source in real time about light and dark. So that's the best way I could sort of, yeah, make sense of all this.
I have a
Is it
question,
possible
Singular.
to make sense of all this?
I was about to
It
say
depends.
too, can
Or
It
is
speak
it
depends
on.
or
which.
do we develop a sense of all this?
That was the two entities, one cup
That's
you was
killer.
talking about, Booker. I'm serious.
I like to hear. I like to hear
Sponsored
more.
by YouAin'tReady.com.
That's the left and the right. The left hemisphere and the right hemisphere coming together. Two entities, one cup.
we ain't even talking about the organisms, the other ones that's controlling shit.
That's part
Yeah,
of it.
but
We're still on Earth.
Two entities, one cup. They nasty.
well, look at it.
That's the caduceus. When you look at the caduceus, what is it? Two snakes, one stick, right?
Yeah, two snakes, one
Yeah,
stick.
true. And where the snakes? Okay, isn't that the medical
Yeah.
Yeah,
cross where the snakes are coming around and they're near the
Yeah.
top of the cross? The two snake heads are right at the cross. Could it be like two snakes, like the Kundalini,
Yeah.
an awakening one, split energetic fields coming up, and the two snakes are right in somebody's ear, talking to them really loud with frequencies?
Well, it's the left and the right. The left and the right synchronizing.
Yes,
And forming
exactly.
that one.
Exactly. And the mystery is, well, it's not so much of a mystery, is what splits somebody. And it's usually, and it is,
Emotional.
from
It's
my,
psychology. You get the split when you're younger, and depending nature versus nurture, you either continue to split or you realign.
yes, and everybody is born into this dimension split. I totally believe, like, some people, babies are split. I truly believe like everybody's brought into this dimension as in a polarity state, a polar state.
No, the
If the
babies
babies is
are split.
split,
I
By
wouldn't say the
saying
babies
letting
are
there be
split
Male,
light.
female,
until we're
alpha, male,
conditioned.
female, man.
I don't think
here
the
is this.
babies are
Yes,
split.
I agree with you. The baby isn't split, but when the doctor gives it a good smack, be assured it's integrated to the split matrix and starts crying. They got a
Eh,
good way of splitting the babies.
nah, I'm a back to different.
that's just twins.
You stupid. Nah, it's split world. Aqua to air.
Yeah, I agree with you. A baby shall probably go into being split and not split, not split and split. It's part of the process everybody goes through. So, yeah, I agree.
First
Because
split,
remember,
in
they're
my
not
experience,
conditioned.
happened whenever creation chose to be, or creation happened. That was the first split.
I don't know. That's breaking up.
Again,
I can't hear anything. Hello.
Yeah, that's something's breaking up. Someone is.
But the babies aren't conditioned, and
They
that's what.
is.
No,
They get conditioned from the jump. When they in the stomach, they be hearing what's going on.
There it is. Yes,
hearing, but they
impressions
know.
can take place.
But they know.
Yeah, it start early. I used to play
And
music to my kids. They used to be listening to that shit. They used to be damn. They used to be kicking and everything.
Hey, Singular, I had a question for you. Wanted your perspective of some people have heard this, or most people heard this experience. Some people were there when I had it. So the last time we met up and tripped, there are a few of us that are in the chat that were there, and I ate 7 grams of mushrooms, and one part of my experience came back to me today whenever I watched your video earlier. So I just subscribed to it also. Um, you mentioned the sun and the moon and combining them and like becoming in sync with them.
Here we
And
go.
I'm gonna have to watch it again because Well, what you say can be a lot to grasp and try to put in and try to wrap my head around. But I'll explain my experience. So at one point during my trip, there's a lot of things that happened during. But at one point, I saw a face. So this was the third face I saw during the trip, and this face looked like a native warrior, so almost like an Aztec warrior or some kind of Mesoamerican warrior, and he
Like
was
a
facing to the side, and he had some kind of headdress on, but it wasn't too elaborate like a chief. It was just some like basic headgear, but I couldn't really see it. He may have had more, but it kind of faded out as it went past his ears. So so he was looking to my right. That's the direction he was facing. And then then all of a sudden, the back of his head, instead of fading out, it faded in and became what looked like the Aztec calendar. Okay. And so it might be the Mayan calendar. It might be the Olmec calendar. I don't know which one it is and where it came from. It may have been older than that. But I know it looked like the classic Mesoamerican calendar. And I do remember seeing at least one arrow on it. There may have been more arrows on it, but there was one arrow on it and it started turning, okay, by itself. It started shifting just a few degrees. So imagine a clock just kind of rocking back and forth. Like at first it's still because it was attached to his head. Then his face disappears and it just becomes a calendar in front of me. And it starts rocking back and forth, kind of like a boat would do. And then all of a sudden it starts turning like a lot. And then it click, it locks. And I look to where it's pointing, and there's this little, I don't know, 1 foot by 2 foot window, and the moon was perfectly centered through that window. The real moon, not just not just tripping visual. No, the real moon just happened to be pointed right where that calendar pointed toward. And because when it stopped, that's when I looked to where it was pointing and I looked and saw the moon. And then I felt like I could control the calendar. So I started moving it myself. And as I was moving the calendar, I could move the moon around. It was almost like the roof. I was on the second floor of a house, and it's almost like the roof was kind of transparent. And I could move the calendar. And as I was moving the calendar, whether counterclockwise or clockwise, I could move the moon with it. But at the same time, out of nowhere, the sun shows up on the other side. And I'm able to see the sun and the moon at the same time. And I'm moving the calendar and manipulating their positions. And that part, the part where I saw the sun and the moon didn't last very long, but that part came back to me whenever you spoke about the sun and the moon in your video and how you can combine them together.
yeah.
So
I can tell you
that was very interesting.
I can tell you what did arrive because sometimes when I'm talking, I get information arriving of what actually was trying to inform you of it. Basically, it was showing you your two satellites and showing you that, you know, it's your cycle to start regulating your two satellites to your copy matrix. And you know it as you were displayed, you can control them, right? You were moving them around. There was
Yes.
So basically, it's telling you basically to become aware of your satellites and to start regulating them and utilizing them for their function and purpose, because that's like an activation for your level of. Some people may perceive it as a leveling up. I call it activation, where you're being informed. It's your moment to start regulating your satellites, and I define it like taking care of business. There was a point in time, my ascension too, where I was in my bedroom, and this is when I first woke up, and the moon and the sun would really bother me. They would just bother me. I had feelings like they were taking my energy all the time, and they were because I wasn't regulating my satellites, and my own dragons were being used against myself. I call it the guardian dragon, sun moon satellite, the guard one's dragon matrix Earth copy. So what happens is I was in my room, and the moon was a full moon. It was this huge and bright, and it was shining, and it stopped right by my window, and it wasn't an astral travel. It was I perceived in this dimension. Maybe it was definitely a loud message to myself. And the moon did not move for hours until it was almost morning. Then the moon started moving. It did not budge at all, and I was like, this system is just effing with myself. I guess it's trying to do something to myself, but it was speaking really loud to myself, trying to give me a message. But also the sun did this one time. One time when was traveling to a different district, and I was walking, and I sat under a tree, and the sun did not move. I was under the tree for about an hour, and usually the sun's moving a little bit. So I marked it with a tree branch just to make sure it wasn't tripping out that it is moving. But no, it wasn't moving at all. It started to move at a further reference of the day, but I didn't pay attention. But yeah, it's just basically I take it as the system was trying to give me a loud and clear message. But back then I didn't I wasn't aware of what it was trying to tell myself, and this awareness of the sun and the moon probably is for maybe a couple of years now, really being informed and aware of that. One needs to regulate their satellites and reclaim them and basically reinsert them back in their thought core rather than being abandoned ships, basically abandoned satellites up in the sky that can be and are being manipulated by uh, other copies of CERN are the Wi-Fi smart technology missions, quantum computers. What is happening is for people that are not aware, they're being controlled by their satellites being accessed. That should be their guardian dragons to their thought core that is projecting their copy matrix Earth. So basically, so why are they beaming HARP up into the sky? Well, they're beaming it up into the exosphere, ionosphere, which is in synchronization with the sun and the moon up there. And this is how they're getting and hijacking to people's thought cores and through basically unclaimed technologies that one should be utilizing when they become aware that is actually meant to guard their and process uh, manipulations, dark anti-fields. So basically the manipulation, to the core of the manipulations is being done to one's thought core, their mind, that is actually their projector, like a movie projecting their projection, their screen of experience, that is the objects, surroundings, environments, constructs. So it doesn't determine one controls other people, but definitely to one sphere what has been appointed, like the immediate objects, surroundings, and constructs. Like here in my room, I can certainly say the molecules are vibrating and react and respond to my thought projection, frequency tuning of intent. So it does not determine that you can control people. Definitely what is appointed to yourself as your screen of experience is in synchronization to your resonance frequency, is an extension of one's thought core. That is the projection. So I've had experiences where I'm shaving and I'm doing energy work, basically tuning my reality, and my shaver, as soon as I change frequency fields, the engine in the shaver changes. I'm like, maybe the battery's just dying. But then I get distracted because, of course, in this ascension, one shall be tested to until they can hold their frequency field with anything happening that shall not move their frequency field. Well, anyways, I got distracted. As soon as I get distracted, the engine and the frequency and the sound from the shaver engine changes. I'm like, this. So I put it to the test and trial a few times. I thought maybe it must be the battery. It's just the battery. But no, as soon as I change my frequency again, the engine and the shaver changes again. It's tuned differently. So that's allowed. How can I say this? Allowed
Okay. Okay. It is tuning
information.
differently, or you are tuning differently.
I am tuned differently. So when I change my frequency field, the engine of the shaver would change. So when
Okay, that
my
makes sense.
my frequency of stabilization, like in a meditative state, I'm tuning my frequency fields. I get distracted, I let go of it. Something arrives to my mind like a thought. Then the engine sound changes again. So then I put it to practice. I did this a few times, and every time it never fails. The engine changes frequency as I change my frequency state. So basically, when I'm changing frequency, the engine, the molecules is changing frequency to the engine perceived the molecules constructing the engine in the shaver. So yeah, certain things we shall be revealed certain things, and also the feedback response uh, to give us information of the energy frequency fields we are emitting. So more progressed stages, I know that as soon as I emit a certain frequency field that's not perceived as myself light, it's dark, I can feel it. And I know I'm tuning my reality. It's not correct the tuning, but it's being offset, and also distractions. It's like a meditation teacher master is teaching a student, and the master teacher is going to distract the student in any way possible until this student cannot be distracted by anyone or anything or any sound or any visual, any experience of events, until the student achieves where they stay to their frequency field no matter what is thrown at themselves. So, in actual fact, we are being conditioned by what I define beyond the masters of all masters. It is source, the luminary, and source, the dark, the luminary version of source, and the dark version of source, yin and yang, that is actually conditioning us. And eventually, people shall start at a certain reference and region on their ascension, becoming aware of the synchronicities, the timings, and certain sounds, even airplanes flying above overhead. As soon as I change my frequency, sometimes small propeller engine planes, like those smaller ones that some people fly, I noticed other times is when I would be releasing to a certain different frequency field, not in such a deep meditative state. The airplane would change its engine. It's from going, as soon as I relax, it'd go, it would drop down too. And I'm like, what the F? This is when I perceived it was, gang stalking, organized harassments. But actually, it's dark entity and luminary entity manipulations to give one their conditioning to start frequency resonance tuning, so are being actually prepared to more advanced levels in their ascension to more progressed levels within the channel. So we have to be reacquainted to know how to tune our reality before we can actually project anything into our reality. As in, the more way progressed levels is where we integrate full thought projection, where we're building in real time with our thoughts. So the perceived heavens that I call the singularity beyond, when we finally finish all this and we get back to the evolutionary state we arrived from, then we are prepared when we go beyond to know how to thought project, because that's all we do there. Nobody builds anything source. We're in the first perspective seat with source, and basically what source knows we know, and what source can do we do, as in manifestation of thought and projecting things into reality, building. So this is digital holographic realities. So they all have been, and I've astro traveled actually where I build things with my thought, and it's next to natural. I really enjoy doing it because that's where we are all from, right? So we can build anything in our sectors basically to what has been appointed to ourselves as our personal homes in the perceived singularity heavens. When we go back to amongst the most advanced civilizations with that, the most advanced technologies, we build with our thoughts, and our sectors have infinitum area and volume capacity to build of what is perceived data to program. So yeah, I anticipate the day I
You know,
return home, because
eh,
we are we are all from the most advanced civilizations, and we all know how to do this naturally. Naturally. And
there is proof in what you're saying. Everybody has proof in what you're saying because everybody knows that sometimes, say you're riding, say you're driving somewhere and there's a radio show on, or you're talking on the phone, or you're listening to a podcast, and then all of a sudden you don't know what they said for the last 15 minutes.
Yeah.
You
Hey,
changed your frequency, you tuned out. And
yeah.
that's when
yes,
I think when people say, "Oh, I zoned out," that's changing frequencies. You tuned off of whatever was coming in that you were listening to originally, and changing frequencies, and you can apply that to anything. You can so if you can so that's proof right there that everybody can apply it to sound, but you can
yes.
apply it, like you said, to dark energies. You can say, well, I choose to ignore that darkness or that negativity, and go a different way. And I guess another way, it could be applied similar, or to perspective, like changing tunes, or changing frequencies could be like changing perspectives. And if you can change your tune or change your frequency with sound, why can't you do it with anything else?
Yes, and this is where one becomes aware their mind is a frequency tuner generator, can generate any frequency that is applied that one is basically aware of and focused
especially
to.
especially when you get sound advice.
Yes, yeah, yeah, there it is, right? There it is.
Sound advice.
Right on point with that. Yeah, sound advice.
But I found it very interesting during that journey to I'm trying to apply it to what you said, being able to now, like being able to manipulate the sun and the moon.
Day and
That
night.
seems
Yeah.
that seems very extreme. That
It's actually
seems like a very extreme version of that. And
But if you think
and
about it, sexuality wise, we do that.
yeah,
You know,
for sure.
some of us we like to swing to the left, some of us swing to the right, some of us swing in the
Stop.
middle.
Stop
I'm
it.
think about it. Think about it. Is that not part of your yin and yang? That's
Part of
two
they,
Sure is.
entities,
it's a part of
one
they
cup.
yin and yang, not mine.
No, no. That's the universal moon, sun, moon, blah blah.
I don't even get on swings no more. Since I was a kid. So I ain't riding no more swings because they changed it.
Cause right here,
but
here we
you
are.
but you still work with them.
I know, right?
Mhm. You're still very familiar with the swing. No, so I thought about this. Okay. So you mentioned specifically the sun and the moon, right?
Yes.
And moving them. But and I've had a little bit of manipulation with the stars, and I know in another trip so mine was at a group meetup. At another group meetup a couple years ago, prior to this one, I wasn't there. Um, some of uh some of the people I think in this chat, one or more, were able to move the stars around. So the sun and the moon, that applies
Yeah.
more directly to Earth and like you say, the Earth matrix or this condensed version of our reality. But they were able to take the stars and position them in different places.
But it's
Yeah,
different
if
translation for different experiences too. You know?
definitely.
It would have made more sense if one of us was doing it and everybody else couldn't see it, but everybody was doing it.
But look
Yeah,
at it
yeah.
this way. Look, perceive it this way.
Been seeing it.
Well, where is the sun and moon right now? Like if you were to see the
Yeah,
moon, where is
yeah.
it? It's already in your thought core. You just need to station it to its proper reference and region, reclaim it. So it's been. Why do you see the moon? Because it's digital data being translated in your thought core. So basically, the moon isn't really up there anyways, nor the sun or anything we perceive outside ourselves. All this experience would be one unified field, seen as sort of uh, the vessel and the extension of the vessel, the screen of experience that is actually the thought core, the primary and the secondary parts, the thought core's projector and projection
Yeah.
of experience. So, in actual fact, so if one is not aware of where the sun and moon is and truly believes it's up there, well, then up there it is. It's really split from themselves and sort of hijacked. You see, it's all manipulation, conditioning.
Damn.
We've been programmed and taught
Yeah.
by the teachings of the deceivers, but it is part of the design, right? So,
Yes,
well,
it's all perception anyway, because like the stars, they may be 300,000 light years away. So they're not even in the same position that they're in right now, quote unquote. It's all your perception of where they're at.
yes. So, in actual fact, are the stars really that far away, or are they my copy projection? But I truly know they're my copy projection of experience in this experience of events matrix. So the stars aren't out there. I know where they are. They're in my thought course. So if we wanted to travel
Yeah.
to different stars, eventually we know how to get there. We go through our own portal and gateway. That is our thought core. That is the channel changer. That is a frequency tuner to coordinates, to different frequency resonance signature stars that are actually probably other people's sectors, sort of a united, independent, collective type of system. This is, and we are returning to getting out of the collective codependent system, returning to the united, independent, collective system.
Proving that you were in control the whole time.
Yes. And the only reason somebody loses control is one is deceived through the lies, the not accurate information. But it is a part of conditioning that people must go through to realize there's nothing to benefit from utilizing darkness. Actually, one will utilize it but not become dark, because in the ascension, processing dark energetic fields is sort of handling darkness but not becoming enticed to become darkness. So it is a conditioning type of thing where one is tempted by all forms of darkness, and then eventually darkness can't move somebody, tune their frequency dark to change them. So this is key element of one's arriving to finishing their simulation, then regulating their sector, their satellites, processing dark energetic anti-fields, and henceforth doing whatever source is informing one to do as their process, their responsibilities, requirements, and necessities to complete their simulation. So they're restored, reformed, prepared to go beyond, is one has went through their conditioning.
I think everybody is like kind of prepared to go beyond, but their perception of beyond is like just totally different than others.
Right, yes, and very true. Some people shall go beyond without arriving to certain levels of attainment, but some of us that I define are much higher ranking titles and positions in the singularity. There's different levels of attainment there too. And for the ones that are a higher title rank perceived angel, more shall be required of them in this simulation, and they shall go through a lot more, because they're the ones that are going to be sort of assisting to bring information into the system, to illuminate others that are meant to receive the information, and so forth. The process continues exactly as Source's design is.
Sounds like a title and a paycheck. Where I'm doing what now? Where's all these titles and jobs? Where's my pay? Do this.
Life is your pay.
Right. And this is where it points to some people may leave from here with blind faith, but if you have a higher title, rank, and position, you're not leaving from here with blind faith. You're going to complete your assignments you've been assigned or agreed to before arriving here.
That's like more power, more responsibility. I didn't ask for it. That's not fair.
Yeah, but to be here at this panel, you probably did ask for it, and you are probably a very high title ranking perceived angel. So anybody here at this panel is meant to be here by design, and then the options and choices are going to be represented from
King Devin.
beings.
King, just the messenger.
Yes, many of us here are doing our part basically by design.
Well,
I think everybody is doing that. Everybody is playing a part to make this thing whatever it is right now. Everybody is a part of it. Nobody is not a part of making this thing what it is.
Nobody's not Source.
And it is like this. Okay, now you're aware of this type of game, what level are you willing to attain?
I don't want none of the levels. I don't want it.
No.
I'm cool. Everybody
You
else
know,
can have it.
I could truly state that I am really deep in the game of what is happening, as in being aware, and I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. It would be boring. It would be boring.
Yeah, that's how I feel. Like I'm at that point in my life to where, I feel like I understand enough, and I'm cool with the rabbit holes and all that shit. I'm cool with all of it.
Yeah, but I'm like, I want more rabbit holes, more progression. Like, when we were talking earlier in this voice panel, where, I was seeing 2 weeks into the Matrix, and I was like, yes, this is how it's going to be. Next week it's going to be even better. Then it disappeared after 2 weeks, and I was like, I was like a kid that got all his candy robbed on Halloween. It was like,
yeah.
It was like it just didn't happen again, and I was
Well,
made aware it's probably not going to happen like
That's
that.
why we
So
take psychedelics so it can keep happening whenever we get ready.
I- yeah, yeah. Singular. I have to say, it's awesome having you here
Yeah.
because you can. I. This is just me thinking out loud. I think you have. Uh, Obviously, everybody has a gift, but one gift you can bring to the group is you can make sense. I think you can make sense of what some people see on their journeys. Because sometimes some of the stuff that we see when we're um, traveling deep or light, we have trouble making sense of it. And when, you'll start questioning yourself on whether it doesn't mean anything or it's a hallucination only and has no significance. But from some of the information you bring, you can tie some of these things together to where they actually make logical sense.
Yeah.
And that is a gift because that makes people feel better. Like that whole sun and the moon thing. When I saw your video earlier, and I saw that because I didn't know what that meant. I just thought, okay, the Aztec calendar functioned in some kind of way that I don't understand completely. But when you describe it as a matter of perspective and control to the individual, um, that that helps tie in that trip to me. That helps bring understanding to what I saw, and that's awesome. And I think you can do that for a lot of people that are here because there's so many. The thing about this group is there's so many journey. We each have had so many trips and have seen so many things, and we can't. We want to put more to it. We want to have more understanding to it, but sometimes we kind of hit a wall or we kind of forget about it. And then boom, all of a sudden you say something and it clicks. It clicks and you're like, "Oh yeah. Okay, I see." And the dots start connecting. Sometimes literally. And that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And I do wonder sometimes listening to somebody like listen to somebody like you. I was like,
He's
man,
like,
sometimes, and that's one reason why we're in this Discord chat is sometimes the day-to-day stuff, we're here to enjoy life. We enjoy it. But sometimes the normal uh, day-to-day stuff does get boring. And because you can't talk about this kind of stuff to everybody, like people are going to see you as a Looney Tune or see as far out there or just plain you're not going to get anywhere with them.
yeah.
And so it's awesome to be able to speak at this level because with the stuff you're talking about, that to me is like it's deep. Like you said, you like to go deep. It's in there,
It's
and
there.
it's awesome. It's awesome to have somebody that can go that deep. So that is the role. We all have our roles, and I think that's one of yours is to be able to dive deep and tie all those together. But I did have one question. It's probably I know you've been here for a couple days. It's probably been answered already, but what do you see the role of like psychedelics in this in this reality?
I see them as conditioners, where there's certain gatekeepers to those portals, that people get digital data transfers of information, but also in real-time first perspective tours of certain dimensional levels within the channel. So basically, it's like well, I can't say they're dark and light. It's like a yin yang type of demon or humanoid type of being or creature, whatever it may be, that's going to give somebody their
Creature.
conditioning and experience, first perspective, and also a lot of information, digital data transfer. Because either way, you define there's some trips that people can't get the information, but the referencing region hasn't arrived yet, because once you synchronize to a certain frequency, then all that information you already have from that travel shall be brought to yourself exactly when it's supposed to be represented. So sometimes, most times, and sometimes it works through other people, and sometimes there's references in regions that need to be basically attained for that information to be activated, because once certain digital data transfers is activated in somebody, it's a frequency resonance increase, or maybe a decrease to another certain level, or both sort of
Was it?
multidimensional infusion. So it needs to have its proper. It's like what one needs to attain the proper frequency resonance to crack the code of the mystery of the information digital data transfer. It's like a video game. When somebody gets to a certain level, they get this special ability to decipher things. Then they get to another level, they get the so-called, they get activated with this armor that's not penetratable. So it's almost like activations that need to be activated through genuine work, and genuine work is putting in the efforts to do one's work. And work is also, being here on this panel is the efforts to share each other's information and to do builds on that, and to cross-examine it with different angles and analogies that triangulate it and unlock the and activate someone. Or yeah, someone could be unlocked and activated. Usually participating in these kind of panels, nobody walks away without a certain frequency resonance increase activation, basically benefits. So one's efforts shall determine the results is a golden rule.
Yeah, that's awesome. Um, it's awesome to learn from each other on this panel. And one thing, I didn't turn my mic on the other night when you were speaking, but I have to bring up when you talked about seeing the entities in suits.
Yeah, that was
This is also it's kind of funny how when we got together, how when we what keeps coming up with the stuff you're saying is the meetup when we got together and journeyed. So so she's not here right now, I don't think, but K-Stu, she tried DMT for the first time. And she tried it and she looked at some of us and she saw either all of us or some of us in these suits.
yeah, and I periodically tune my suit on, and some of us have them on all the time, and that's what I define as singularity initiated beings don't go anywhere without their suits on. Yeah, so as a matter of fact, maybe all of us here have our energy armor singularity suits over our energy beings. It's something that you just do at a certain level, or have and are informed of how to tune it and tweak it to as well. So yeah, I have built and modified many suits, right? Sort of like Tony Stark, but a little different. But yeah, definitely. Uh, Eventually, one will start tweaking their suits and playing around with the technologies within their suit, because it is like a toy, right? It's almost like Tony Stark putting on certain features and then building a suit for Spider-Man. It has only certain things can be activated at certain times, and he couldn't have certain functions happening because with these kind of suits, you need to be informed of what they do, because if one suit was activated, it could actually crack this whole place in half and maybe destroy the whole Earth. They're very powerful suits. It's just like a suit with no limits. So that's basically what these energy singularity suits I talk about that the Watchers wear. They're suits with no limits, but with power comes responsibility, because that technology cannot be utilized for darkness. So henceforth, it is safety protocol. So somebody cannot access certain functions, and they won't be activated if it's going to be used for evil, because with that being activated, if it could be done, then many things could happen that are not desirable, so-called effects.
Yeah, it
So
was
that is interesting. So did she have anything else happen arrive from that?
yeah, you'll have to speak to her when she gets in here, but I remember one thing, like I know I was one of the ones that she saw in a suit, and she sent me
Right.
a video from a movie of how I appeared. And the way I appeared, she basically showed me being transparent at first.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, I slowly came to form in front of her in my suit.
Yeah, phased in.
And
Yep.
yes, phased in. And then she said that then one of the things she said was Rob is not from here. So I'm
Yeah.
Rob, and she goes, Rob is not from here. And we're tripping, like we're thinking, okay, she had a vision, she had a visual, but we're not really putting everything together until somebody like you comes in and says something like that. I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah, and you know what?
Like, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
like it blows your mind.
yeah, but it's actual facts and it's on point, right? And many of my video translations, I define I'm not from here, I'm from the future. Actually, all of us are not from here. Everybody is from the future. That is to every being. But regarding the title, rank, and position, okay, you wearing that suit would definitely define that you are initiated singularity being, watcher, gatekeeper. That is one of the highest levels of initiation attainable that anybody has the potential to get there, but there is simulations in the singularity that people must go through to attain the positions because it is all efforts and one's efforts so be their results in attainment. So this simulation here too that I define to some people, give it your all and give it get into everything and genuinely and learn and absorb everything you can and go through experience of events to really increase your score. This is almost like a test in school too. The more you score here by doing more things and accomplishing more things, the higher score you get and the higher title, rank, and position is attained. So if you had one of those suits on, be prepared for not being bored when when you finally synchronize yourself to all the technologies. You shall open up many more activations and access to what I define different levels within this channel. It never gets boring because for myself, I'm always being conditioned to be on the ball. If I let go of my energy frequency tuning, I get a kinetic pulse because that's the level of at the progression level I have attained. So it's basically if I let go of my frequency resonance, I get nailed. It's telling me, hey, you let go, right? So at first, I'll be like resentful every time I get hit by these kinetic pulses. It'd be a pain induction, and I was really getting resentments when I couldn't understand what is happening. But now I realize it's all just conditioning to establish myself and practice the technique of frequency resonance tuning, whether it be certain things being integrated as modulations, adjustments, modifications towards whatever is needed to do that is being revealed to myself. So basically, when you get to those levels, you probably shall get to those levels, and it really accelerates fast what happens. But um, for myself, one of my accelerators from being my guides has been Marduk, and it's never failed myself. So, like I defined, I stopped using him about two years ago, three. Then I was just uh, information arrived to ask him again to integrate him, to ask him to assist and guide myself to further assist myself to complete whatever needs to be completed, conditioned to. So 3 days this happened, and the past 3 days have been completely different. And once again, I'm continuing my apprenticeship with who I was guided to be assisted by. So basically, I see myself now in the last 3 days going to a different level of conditioning, training, etc. So eventually, everybody shall realize that it is all types of conditionings to be reformed, restored, being prepared to go home and go beyond to sort of completing one's mission. Yeah, I would describe it as like that. But yeah, I'm not surprised at all. Those suits are common to singularity beings. They know about those energy suits, and yeah, that's the way it is.
Yeah, it was interesting to me because I didn't even see myself as having a suit or it meaning anything until then. And I know I wasn't the only one that she saw with a suit that night. And uh a kind of a follow-up question to all this, like all this seems so deep. Are you and the way your
It
mind
was you and
is
Charles.
yeah, Charles was the other one with the suit.
She said y'all
Are
not from
are
here.
are you able to break everything down and zoom in to this reality and be able to enjoy the simple things, the human experience, for lack of
Yes,
better words?
yes, I can, but I have to be multi-dimensional, multi-dimensional level of working, right? Or else if I just letting go and doing nothing, be assured I shall get nailed in dark entity manipulated by dark entities that are in subdimensional planes and also what I define as mid-etheric and astral devices of conditioning. So yeah, I can enjoy it. Sometimes I'm like, I wish I could go back and just let go and do nothing. Then my guides are like, yeah, then you'd just be no-minded. You wouldn't be utilizing your mind. The thought force is like a muscle, but also it gets developed. The more you use it, the more it gets developed. At first, it's like this. Multitasking was hard for myself. It's like having a computer that only has one window. You can't really do too many multitasks. So it's like eventually, once ThoughtCore becomes like a computer pulling up multiple windows and doing multitasking at the same time. So the only way I can enjoy myself, like you define the simple things, is in correlation to my energy work and energy frequency tuning shall be my results into what people perceive as peace and euphoricness. So if to give you an example, if I let go of my energy work, right now I feel good, I feel euphoric. It's been like this stabilized for quite a while, but it's work all the time, multitasking. As I'm conversing here, I'm doing different things within my thought core as an energy work, energy frequency tuning, clearings, and whatever else needs to be done, absorbing, processing, converting. So basically, the more I do, the more liberation I have. So the less I do, so basically, say I just let go and try to be the way I was once, not informed, just go back to my old life. Within about an hour, I will be so severely energetically manipulated and shifted to the dark channel, and definitely the stomach gets manipulated majorly. I'll get a nauseous, upset stomach. It'll feel like my stomach starts flowing up towards my diaphragm, towards my throat, and it just feels I can feel the energetic reversal, right? So
Yes.
yeah, I can enjoy it, and I do enjoy the normal things, but sometimes I'm like, yeah, just want to shut this thing down of everything happening because there's on top of that there's major information flowing all the time of digital data transfers. So it's like a busy highway all the time, but I wouldn't have it any other way because what's going back to normal, being blind, I wouldn't want to go back there because then I review it. It's like I don't want to go back there. What would I be doing there? It'd just be chasing around what normal people chase and basically blind to the different dimensional planes of experience. So once one is activated to a certain level, there is no going back. And us, everybody getting here and doing the builds, there shall be activation, acceleration guaranteed with no doubts. I already know this. And yeah, as soon as one gets activated to a certain level, it's like there is no going back to the other level. But if one decides
It's
to
just
go back there,
integration.
yes, but if one decides to go back there, that would be sort of want to stay lay and sort of not do as much. Well, they do slide back, and it is made apparent you can't go back there because if you go back there, you get your ass kicked because it requires energy work to go back there anyway. So letting go, it's like letting go. It's like the front line of battlefield, right? There's bullets always flying. If you have your energy suit on, or an analogy to that is doing your energy work and energy frequency tuning, the bullets flying around is like dark energetic fields. There's always bullets of signals flying around, always signals of different types of programs to condition people who are at certain references or regions. So if I go to the front line and I'm like, okay, I'll just drop my shield that is dropping my energy work, and I phase into the crossfire of the bullets, I'm going to get nailed and it's going to be painful. And the only way to get out of there is to continue on doing my energy work. Then the shield goes up, I change channels, and all of a sudden I'm stabilized to what I define as a good existence as can be for now. So at more progressed levels, one should be busy doing energy work and energy frequency tuning all the time. Yeah, there's some video translations I make. It's like I'm doing nothing. I've automated my system finally, but no, I clarify it in the next few translations. Like, no, it doesn't work like that. It's just one is required to do their own work. Though eventually, when we finally go beyond here, or maybe at a certain activation level from one practicing enough their techniques, it is automated by habitually developing the technique, right? It is next to automated, so it's running all the time. But from my understanding, there's many levels. When I accomplish one, I'm like, yes, I'm stabilized. It always seems to be there is another threshold that gets integrated, pushing myself or putting myself into a corner to further enhance my energy work. Though sometimes I'm put into the thresholds sitting bare naked to take my conditioning beating, I call it. So when that happens, I'm requesting for what I need to have the information to do as energy work to stabilize myself there. But sometimes nothing arrives. So if this happens to anybody here, is the worst thing somebody could do is get bitter and get a resentment. One, just earn themselves a longer period and that initiation beating introduction to the next threshold. So when there nothing arrives, is I take my beating basically and try to do the best with the energy work I know. But eventually, what I asked for arrives, and there is a resolve. And I, how could I define this? I balance the equation in that threshold by being informed of what to do. So there is always things happening, things changing, variables. One day this works, this technique, then it's not working. I'm doing it half the day, then I'm asking for the information for what
Like
to do.
a
Then something
visual
arrives to
circle.
integrate. So it's always changing the
It's
variables.
like
It's
a
like a
signature
major
circle.
conditioning. So
Yeah.
yeah, hopefully that
Go where
clarifies.
the go where the water takes you. Go with the flow.
Well, it's
Because
really, yeah,
sometimes I've had this feeling too, but I've heard it more from True. But I've had this feeling that once you get there and you get exposed to those other dimensions, it is so complex and there's so many layers to it. Like you said, you're like, what was I doing down here? And and you're like, this place is so beautiful. This place is so dope. Like I need to be up here. And like I know True has had experiences where he's been like that, where like he leaves his body and it's like I remember, and once again going back to the last meetup, he said fuck that body
Yeah, fuck
and he
that.
went on to the next level, and because those next levels are so dope. But
Yeah,
then again, he's had other trips that just shot him back and said it's time to go back.
yeah, it's that time. It's that time right now. I'm about to go back right now. I'm about to have to holler at y'all because my mushroom's starting to kick in. And
all
I'm
right.
not losing out this time. I got to lay down and I got to let them
Uh,
take me.
I could give you a
I'm
uh,
not going to
suggestion.
talk
and
or keep my eyes open through this one. It's not happening.
I could give you a
enjoy, my brother.
suggestion. Enjoy it, but program aware where you want to go and what you want to experience and reinforce it. Stay tuned to the frequency field you
It's,
want to go to, and you shall go there. Simple
yeah,
as that.
no, that is true. But I done been everywhere already. So I'm like, you know, I don't
Yeah,
even look to
there,
go anywhere. It's just wherever I go, it's just I'm with it. Don't even
yeah.
matter because I don't know where I
There's,
need to go half the time.
well, there's a golden rule I have to myself is as you ask, you receive. Well, ask where you're to go next, and be assured you shall go.
Yeah, yeah, you will. You will.
Be
I done
assured.
had weird experiences to where it was like I asked every question ever known to man and I got an answer. And I was cool with that answer. So
Yeah,
it's like
that's the way it
now it's
works.
like, I'm not, I don't want to dig the rabbit hole. I want the rabbit hole to pull me in. I don't want to go looking for it.
Amen.
I just want it to snatch me and go, okay, look at this rabbit hole. And I go, oh, okay, I've never been in this one. Wasn't looking for
Enjoy
it.
it.
Hey, I, it's amazing. Mushrooms is amazing because it's, it is. It's amazing. It's an amazing journey every time. Every
We
time.
look forward to hearing from it, brother.
Yeah, all right. I'm going to holler. Peace out, y'all.
All right. Until next time.
All right.
Peace, but
And all right, everybody on YouTube and wherever you from, thank you for stopping by. But I have to, I don't want to spend my time this time talking the whole time through my experience. I kind of want to go and let it happen as I usually do. And then I'll be back, once it's close to being over, I'll be back to talk about it. So